stretchy.
And we're live. Welcome to another Thursday edition of Tint, or today's not Thursday. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Tint Wizdom. This time with a guest. Typically we don't have guests on Tuesday, but we are joined with Rick Tallman from TNT Window Tinting, and you'll also know him from the Window Film Revolution group. Welcome, Rick.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
It's going freaking amazing. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good. I'm going to just pull up the comments here and we can jump right in.
Okay.
So, everybody who's watching, thank you first of all for taking the time to watch this live, or if you're watching it after, of course, thank you. I always appreciate everybody who participates in these lives. And, I have some questions for Rick that I'm excited to discuss with you today, but then any questions that any of you all watching have, just drop them in the comments and we will discuss them. So let's jump right in. Rick, for people who might not know you, for those couple people out there in the window film industry who might not know who you are, tell me a little bit more about how you got into the film industry and who you are, what you're doing right now.
Okay. I got into the window film industry about 20 years ago. Okay. I had gotten out of the Marine Corps, and when I left the Marine Corps, I decided I wanted to do my own business. I was sick of people telling me what to do, how to do it, and everything. And so while I was in the Marine Corps, a buddy of mine, we were both on base restriction. We got in trouble over something stupid. And all we could do was stay on base. Well, there was a car wash on base, and we're sitting here cleaning up our trucks. And he's like, yeah, man, I wish I was back in Atlanta. I would have this guy that details it do it for me. Now, we're both like 18 or 19, I don't know, 18 or 19 years old. And he proceeds to tell me that he paid somebody $150 to clean his truck. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? You paid somebody that much money to clean your truck? Why do you clean it yourself? And when I realized people like him would pay people to clean their stuff, I said, that's what I'm going to do when I get out of here. So I got out of the Marine Corps and wound up in Florida, which that's a discussion in and of itself.
What part of Florida?
What's that?
What part of Florida?
Close to Tampa, Zephyr Hills, Florida.
Okay.
And I seen a guy tinting windows, and listen, he hadn't been tinting long, so the quality of his jobs at that time, which I'm sure he's better by now, but at that time the quality wasn't really all that great, and people were paying him like $160, and I'm like, man, detailing takes me a lot longer. And then, I started asking prices. Well, how much does this stuff cost? And so he tells me, because I was detailing at his place, he was tinting. I was like, man, I should get in a tent. And he didn't have enough business, to have another employee or have somebody else working. So I just went out on my own. I literally took $1,000 and just, drove to Miami and bought some film from this place, which they're still in business under a different name. And that's how I got my start in the window film industry, was seeing somebody tint windows, and I just believed in myself and I was going to do it. That's how I got into it. Now, fast forward 20 years, I've learned a crap ton about the window film industry, sometimes even more than even I wanted to know, but I've learned a lot. And, obviously there's Window Film Revolution. I kind of stumbled into that.
So let's stop there. Tell me more about Window Film Revolution. It's obviously a window film group. If you watch these videos, you know that I tell everybody they should be part of every Facebook window film group. They all have something amazing to offer. Are you the founder? I know you're kind of the face behind Window Film Revolution, even though there's a lot of people behind it, but are you the founder of it? Or tell us how you fell into that.
Yes, I'm the founder. Long story short, I got kicked out of another group for talking about window tint. I said, this is supposed to be a tint group, and I'm talking about tint. Now, I was talking about one specific brand of tint, so I get it, but I got kicked off, and I said, well, that's BS. I'll just start my own, and that's how it got started. And I got a little competitive juices flowing in me. I'm like, this guy's not going to tell me what I can and can't do. I'll do what he does and do it better. And 6 years later, I've achieved that goal, I believe. I'm not trying to be cocky, arrogant, or nothing like that, but I believe that goal has been achieved. So it kind of started with some ill intentions, but it transformed into something I could have never expected. and it just turned into something really good. And so I had to tone myself down. I used to be an a-hole on social media because I was always trying to defend myself from somebody. A lot of times I would be speaking about stuff that, maybe they didn't understand, or maybe I wasn't able to clearly explain it good enough, which is definitely, one of the things that's happened. And now it's just blossomed into something absolutely amazing.
So tell us more about what is the concept behind Window Film Revolution? What is it in its current form? Tell me what the group is about, the core values, what you're trying to achieve with it currently in its current state.
Well, currently, in the form that it's in, we are basically transitioning not just from Facebook, but we're going to be transitioning into a website and hopefully a competition, hopefully a certification network.
But right now, if somebody part of the group right now, what are they going to get from the group? What can they expect? What are some of the core values or the rules? I mean, what I'm getting at is, there's a lot of groups, they all have their own culture and vibe. I'd love to hear kind of how you envision that group is currently.
Well, I believe it's just a great place to learn about not just window film, but about the industry. And now most of my learning I learn more about people than I do about, window film and, specifically. And listen, social media is just a great place to polish your social skills. I mean, it's not called social media for nothing. And I'm loving it. But the objective and the core values of Window Film Revolution is we want window tinters, people in other industries, whether it be detailing, wrapping, stereo shops, anything that could possibly be related to window film. If they come to Window Film Revolution or they hear about Window Film Revolution, we want to be the top-notch group. We want to be the group that represents the entire industry. Now, can we represent the entire industry? No, but we can represent the best of the entire industry, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, that does.
And so that's the goal, is just to simply basically toot our own horns. And when I say our own horns, I don't mean me in particular. I mean, as an industry, we should be proud of what we do. And a lot of us are. I mean, listen, you go through the social media and there's tons of people proud of what they do. We all have, slightly different opinions on what's, best practices for actual installs, best practices for how you deal with customers, etc. But I think if somebody wanted to look at this industry, that's what I want to change. It is the perception of the window film industry, because let's face it, for years, yes, companies like, we'll just use Lumar for example. Now, they did a very good job in making our industry look good, but let's face it, there's a lot of people that did a good job at making our industry look bad. And
are you speaking primarily to like consumer awareness? Or
well, listen, when I first got on social media and I was talking on social media, there were a lot of people that would attack you, not just me, but I mean, people attacking everybody. Everybody's mean. It's like everybody thought that Facebook was a joke. And I get it, because when I first got on Facebook, I mean, it was more like a video game instead of like now. Right. No, you're a real person on the other line of this. Right. There's real people watching us right now. Right. And at the moment where it became clear to me, this isn't a game. These are real people. And I go to these competitions, I go to, conferences, and I'm meeting these people. They're real people. And I'm like, for whatever reason, it just clicked. And I said, man, this is extremely valuable, extremely important. But ultimately, I don't want your potential customers, I don't want people in other industries thinking that we're a bunch of crapheads. And I'm sorry, but for years, that's the way the window film industry has been presented, and there's always going to be good and bad. Don't get me wrong. I just want people to see the best of our industry. I mean, everybody knows there's bad stuff that goes on. I just want people to see the best. That's ultimately it.
It's funny you say that, because what comes to mind, okay, first of all, to your point, what you said about people kind of feeling like it's a video game, that's the nature of the internet. And it's always kind of been the nature of the internet is you're just somebody. And that's where you're just, username. And that's where I think Facebook changed the game, because for most of us, it added a level of accountability, because you are really you're tied to family, you're tied to friends. So you're not just some, Fireball 1993 username anonymously trolling the internet. Now, with that said, something that comes to mind that I see in the groups, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on, because obviously Window Film Revolution is a heavily moderated group. There's a group of moderators, and it's actively monitored, and a lot of posts, not a lot of posts. I wouldn't say a lot of posts, because I don't really know a percentage or a number, so I shouldn't say a lot. But there's not a lot of room for shenanigans.
No, there's not. And, sometimes, people might have the perception that we over moderate. But listen, over moderation is a lot better than the alternative, in my opinion. If people know that, listen, you can get kicked out of this group. Listen, we have a lot of members, and don't get me wrong, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of a lot of things, but ultimately we didn't wind up getting a lot of members, I'm trying to think of how to say this. Long story short, okay, me and Ralph got together, and I got to talking with him, and we got to talking. We're bouncing ideas off of each other, and we were trying to come up with the best way to make, what we thought was, could be the best group or whatnot. And it doesn't even matter if the name was Window Film Revolution or something else. How do you make a really good group? Well, if you get rid of the people that are stirring up crap, first off, that's the very first thing we did. People that are just negative, not bringing anything good to the table. Every time you see them talking, they're talking down to somebody. They're, why don't you do it this way? I don't understand. You must be a rookie. So it made a lot of people feel uncomfortable, especially people that were new to the industry.
Sure.
And it pissed me off. But, and so I'm sitting here looking, well, how can we combat this? And so the plan was, to build the group up and get respectable numbers. And once we got to respectable numbers, we said, man, this is not what we wanted, because we had numbers, but we had a bunch of bad apples. And so we got rid of all the what we consider bad apples. Everybody has a different opinion, but we got rid of the people that weren't bringing anything positive. You're not teaching anybody anything. You're always complaining about people that do. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was even people saying, that us training people or showing people tips on the internet was going to ruin the industry. And I'm sitting here thinking, no, people talking smack and not bringing nothing to the industry is who ruins it. Sure. I mean, I understand if a window tinter is, that they've been doing the same thing for years and it's working out for them. But ultimately, a lot of those fears were just, empty fears. At the end of the day, I think, my shop hasn't changed, negatively because I've been out telling people how to tint windows or Ralph or anybody else. I mean, there's a lot of people that devote their time. And we all have different reasons. We all have different motives for what we're doing, agendas, whatever you want to call it. We all have agendas. We all have motives. We all have reasons for doing this. Mm-hmm. And the best thing I can say is I have literally fell in love with this industry. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say again, but I've fell in love with the industry in a way that I never could have if not for social media, if not for Facebook. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. And the reason I fell in love is because the same way I seen a lot of bad people, guess what? When the bad people were gone, the good people weren't afraid to come out and talk anymore. Like, am I going to get ridiculed because I got a question? And listen, no group's perfect. And I'm sure to a degree that probably still happens in Window Film Revolution. There's 15 of us that monitor it. You're one of them. We can't catch everything, but everything that we can catch, we get it. We take it out. If it's negative, if it doesn't bring something positive to the group, why are you here? I mean, really. I mean, if you're a negative person, I don't mind if you're on the group, but I do mind if you bring that negativity out. you can sit around and hang out, watch, go somewhere else, and whatever. I don't care who's on the group, as long as you're not bashing or talking smack or, being rude, whatever you want to call it. I mean,
so, the way I've always seen it is like, it's not, the reason I want to be a part of every single group, and I think it's important, and every time a new group pops up, if I find out about it, I join it, is because I feel like each group is its own, own like little neighborhood, right? It's its own little gated neighborhood, okay? But the whole entire neighborhood is on Window Film Facebook Boulevard. So we're all part of the same city. We're all part of the same people. But if you want to go into one neighborhood, there might be music playing past midnight. And another neighborhood might, the lights might be off at 7 p.m. And every neighborhood has their different rules. And the beauty of the window film groups is it takes a few clicks and you can start your own group. And you can do things the way you want. And I don't believe that one group can really take away from another. I think as a whole, it's the industry building together. So I always feel like, there's this kind of sense where people are saying, this group's better than this group, or can you believe how they do it in that group? And, I don't think there's a perfect, you got to go?
No, I don't have to go. There's somebody driving by. I am gonna have to holler at him and let him know that I can't mess with him.
Do it. I'm going to jump into the comments real quick and go, and then we'll catch up. So I'm going to read a couple comments that came through.
I can't unlock it right now.
Maybe I'm not.
Hold on,
all right,
one second.
All right.
I can't unlock it, live video. I'll call you in a second.
I'll just wait.
I'm doing a live video. Live. I'll call you in a minute.
Any questions, throw them in here. We're going to jump in the comments right now. So the first one, Rhett Lindsay said, the perception of the industry, we have to make our clients perceiving window film as a value. Absolutely. Mike Powell said, we all have and are in the best industry we all have and are in the best industry there is. I have more respect for so many members in the industry. I have gained more friends in the last 2 years as the best friends, and we stay in touch daily. Some are just close, but some don't speak as close. I am in this for everyone and always willing to help. That's Mike Powell. I mean, anybody who gets a chance to meet Mike Powell, he's just a genuine soul. And I'm happy to call him a friend, and someone that I met this year at the Window Film Convention.
Yeah. I like Mike Powell, by the way.
You said what? You like Mike Powell?
I like Mike Powell. He has got passion.
He definitely has passion, and he's got a good heart. And I'm curious who doesn't like Michael Powell, because I don't know. So Ralph Van Pelt said, we get rid of the toxic people first. Ralph, Flex Film, he's going to be joining us tomorrow. We're doing a 3-day live Wisdom Week. So we're doing live today, obviously, and then tomorrow with Ralph Van Pelt. That's from Flex Film and also from Window Film Revolution. And then Thursday we'll be with Austin Cook from the Tint Institute. So Ralph, also one of the founders, would you say, of the Window Film Revolution?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then Ralph said, we got rid of all the spammers second. These are the people that just go on there to sell. They offer nothing to the group. So, that's an interesting topic. And I definitely understand it. You don't want the place to be billboards of people just pushing their product. Right. If you have a product and you can find a way to find value through that information, it's different than if you're just putting up an ad trying to spam film sales for the day. Rhett also said the kid that had the mustache and the tint on YouTube, so that's Matt Blackmere, I think, right?
Yeah,
that was
Matt
scary.
Blackmere tint stuff.
It was so good that his views are skyrocketing. Private videos and social media are fine for our industry. And yeah, so I have a thought that kind of comes into play with what we were just talking about. And one of the things that I see happens in the groups is every group, I think, not every group, but some of the groups, people accuse the group of moderating very heavily towards anyone that speaks out about a brand. Now, that's something that you even said was the reason for you to start Window Film Revolution is you speaking about a brand in a group and getting kicked out. Now, I know, or I'm pretty sure, there are people, whether correct or not, that feel that way about Window Film Revolution, that certain brands may be protected, certain brands may not be. Now, how do you handle that? What is the real deal because it's different when you're a user and you see something disappear and you may not know why, and then somebody else says, well, this is what happened, and so on. So give it to me from your point of view. How do you deal with this stuff? What is the plan?
Okay, here's the deal. When I was on all these other groups, you were always getting blasted with advertisements. And when I say blasted, I mean, and I don't know what they're doing now because I'm not in most of them anymore. So I don't know what's going on with all of them now. But back when I was in all of them, you'd see, like I said, first off, you'd see the toxic people, as Ralph says, and then you'd see advertisements just everywhere. And it's like, man, this is just aggravating as hell. I don't want to see this all the time. But you know what? I don't care if you're watching TV. I don't care if you're watching cable. If you're getting something for free, you're going to see advertisements, period. I don't care what social media you're on. YouTube, go to YouTube. Guess what? Unless you pay extra, you're going to see ads. And so my whole take on ads was, hold up, if you're going to be taking advantage of social media to pad your pocket, that's a fact. If you're going to be taking advantage of that, I'm okay with that. But what I'm not okay with is if you're doing it for free. And if that's the only reason you're there, if that's the main reason you're there, now it takes all kinds to make the world go round. But let me just go to WFR. Okay. If you're advertising in WFR, you're paying to be there or you're contributing. Now, people can make assumptions on how much money. Listen, WFR does not bring in a crap ton of money. I promise you, within a month, or less, I bring in way more money than Window Film Revolution has the whole time it's been in existence. But with that being said, if somebody's going to be advertising, like, this is my personal opinion. I'm the founder of WFR, so it matters. I'm not trying to sound cocky, arrogant, but if you're going to be on a group that we made and we spent, hours and days and months and a lot of time and effort to build this group, I don't like the idea that you can just come on the group and advertise your stuff and you don't have to pay. Seriously. Okay. So if an advertiser's paying to be on the group, this is one thing, they can go to a gazillion other groups and advertise all they want for free. If they're paying to be on a group, they see value in that group. Sure. If they see value in it, then other people are going to see value in it. And listen, it takes money to do things. I've went out of my own personal pocket to do some things, but we're about to do some big things. And you're aware of some of those things, by the way. Mm-hmm. But we're about to do some big things, directly related to WFR, but to improve the industry. And guess what? Those things cost money.
Right.
And where are you going to get it from? Is everybody going to pitch in $100 that's on the group? Or, unless they're going to do that.
That's the thing. You see it going more and more in the direction of, you get free information from people. And instead of monetizing your audience, you can monetize sponsors, you can monetize partners and so on. And you find you can monetize merch and so on. And, at the end of the day, the free information allows the information to reach everyone as opposed to having that gate there. So, I kind of want to bring up, or I expand on a couple things you just said. So,
okay.
First of all, if, the fact that Window Film Revolution brings money, brings in money has been a topic. It's been kind of a hot topic at some points. And, my personal thoughts on it, and this isn't stuff I think I haven't shared it with you yet, or I don't think so. That's what I'm telling you and telling everybody.
Okay.
But you as a group, so if we compare this to how influencers work in social media, okay? First, everybody's posting on Facebook and posting on Instagram and becoming popular, posting on Vine. And at first, it's all free, right? And those people can only do it for free. But then eventually, they're able to now make money through maybe ads or through sponsors or through working with companies and so on. Now, what did that do? If you're somebody who is also posting on social media and not making money on it, what those people did is they broke through a wall that nobody even knew was there and created an opportunity for them to make money doing what you enjoy, which is like you enjoy watching their videos or their pictures or whatnot, or following their, whatever it is. You've now enabled them to monetize that. So now they're able to bring you more of it and better of it. And, it's basically, it has created an industry. And what I'm saying is, what I see you've done in the Window Film Revolution group by having sponsors and generating money has made one more way that you can help grow the industry. Now, if we take it a step further and we say, what if you weren't helping just grow the industry? What if you were helping grow the industry, but you were also profiting from it? Let's just say, and I'm not saying you are, because I don't know you are. You said you're not, it's not even an issue, but let's just say you did. Would that be a terrible thing? Or would that be a way that it allows you to now spend more of your time, because your bills can be paid, on doing what you love and providing more value to the industry? And then, would that not have been you creating, and then I'll shut up, would that not have you creating a model that other groups can now say, hey, this is how we can monetize this group. This is how we can help provide more value to our members. And the whole industry gets elevated from there. So what I'm saying is, why is the money being demonized versus being looked at as a tool to benefit everyone and benefit the industry?
Well, I'll be quite honest with you. It's because, I don't come out and tell people everybody Window Films Revolution's business. The people that are there don't come out and tell it. And some people are just scared to ask, which is why I told you directly, listen, there's nothing off topic that I won't talk about. And I would love to clear the air and make very clear what we're doing. Listen, we're planning on building a website. We're planning on having a huge tent competition. And we're planning on making a membership, which we'll get into that as soon as it comes up. But we're also planning on a certification network. Listen, all of that costs money. And I mean, I'm not going to go into my TNT window tinting money to make that happen, because it's for the industry. It's not just for me. I mean, I've devoted a ton of my time. Listen, if I was getting paid by the hour based off of the money I've made since I've been in the group, it would be like a quarter an hour or less, if you want to stretch it out over 6 years or 5 years or however long, the group's been around. And it's like, the people that, complain or demonize money, as you say it, listen, those are the same. Listen, we go to these groups to learn, right? Why do we want to learn? Because we want to be better at our own shops. Why do we want to be better at our own shops? To make more money. Everybody's here to make money. And listen, you don't go to one of these big tent competitions and say, well, these window film companies are paying to be here. Of course they're paying to be here. It's where everybody's at. And I don't see a problem with it. And there's tons of others that don't neither.
So I don't quick question. Let me jump in here. Josh Beck says, "Why? I just want to know why you switched to Expel." Let's jump onto that subject.
Okay.
So what were you using before Expel, first of all?
I was using Global, and Global is a great film, by the way. Bottom line is I was privy to know that Expel had a great film. And, listen, they haven't been in the window film industry very long. They've been in PPF for a while. They haven't been in window film very long, but they made a great decision on who they got their film from. Now, the reason I switched from Global to Expel is quite simply Expel, in my opinion, has better marketing. I mean,
so is the brand draw.
Yeah, there's a brand draw there. There's a good chance I'm going to have customers come in asking for that in particular by name. Same if it was 3M, especially 3M, but it's one of those type of things. There's just extra benefits and bonuses. Ralph likes to say that, especially with these social media groups and Facebook groups, basically they're like churches. Get in where you fit in. Your core beliefs, our core beliefs, we just want other people to have the same beliefs in our group. And every group's like that. You just want to be around people that think like you do. Right. And, sometimes you need to change your way of thinking. I think we've all had to change our way of thinking at some point, but we just want to get in where we fit in. That's it. Right. Now, my version of like-minded and thinking the same can be totally different from somebody else's. I mean, I grew up in the city and the country. What was acceptable in the streets of College Park and East Point, if I did those same things in, South Georgia in the country, that wouldn't be acceptable. You know, and you just have to understand where you are and just go by the rules. You know, the neighborhood I grew up in, if you crossed the wrong street, you were in trouble. Like, seriously. I mean, and there's places like that I'm sure in LA, there's places you're not going to go and you just know not to. You know, and there's places you can go, but you know what to expect, but you know your boundaries. And I think social media, people are still figuring out their boundaries. You've got people that still come in brand new to Facebook, you know, or at least to the groups, and they don't know what to do. And it's like, oh, man, it's a video game. So there's a lot of people that still have that mentality, and they're like, oh, you know, and so they can say anything they want. But, you know, in real life, in person, we all know that there's things that we're not going to say in person that we're going to, you know, say over the internet because we got, you know.
I prefer taking the route of not saying anything over the internet that I wouldn't say in person, because I really feel like, you know, at the end of the day, we're all people. We're all, even beyond just the fact that we're all in the window film industry, we're all people. And, you know, what kind of comes up is like, you know, people will often complain that they get, like, they'll make a post, right? And it'll be like a wild post. It'll be like, you know, F this, blah, blah, blah. And it'll mention like a window film company, and it'll be, you know, it'll just, I can't even really, I don't want to get this, I don't want to have Facebook take down the video, but like basically they just say a bunch of curse words and a bunch of funny taglines, and then they throw in a window film company kind of bashing them or whatever. And then when that post gets deleted, then they go to another group and they'll say, look what happened to my post, blah, 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 blah. Now, here's the thing. You also, but here's the parallel, but here's the funny parallel that I see is you also see posts, right, where you'll see a tint shop post a 1-star review, and they'll say, look what this person went and said and did about the company. They didn't even give me the opportunity. I don't even know what they're talking about. This never happened, blah, blah, blah. And then they're mad because they can't delete it from Yelp or from Google, and now it's stuck there for the public, and they know how big of a deal that is for their companies, you know, perception. Now, when you know that and how that affects your company and why you don't want that happening from a consumer to your tint company level, why would you want to do that to window film manufacturers on a window film to manufacturer level, as if now it doesn't matter? Because at the end of the day, what should happen? It's okay if you're unhappy with something, but what you should do about it, in my opinion, is go to the manufacturer and handle it in, handle it. And then if you can't handle it with the manufacturer, then I think you should definitely go into tint group. I think that's what tint groups are for. And you should explain what happened so that other people can find out what happened and then make their decisions based off of that. Now, if you don't go in there and say what happened, and you go in there with your head turning into like, just mouth diarrhea, then you're not really helping anybody.
Yeah.
So,
well,
what do you think?
You asked me a question earlier about, advertisers being protected, not protected. Mm-hmm. Here's the whole deal. Yes, if you're paying to be a part of Window Film Revolution, we want to give you every benefit in the world. We want you to have a pleasurable experience. Now, this is for, people paying to be here or contributing in some other way. We want them to have a great experience. Now, if somebody comes on and says, hey, this product is junk or crap or any other derogatory statement, we take them out, and there's a good chance you're going to get kicked out. So when people say that we do that, yes, we absolutely do that. But the companies that we have sponsoring us, we have already, called them to find out if they're, quality companies or not. So we know a lot about these companies before we ever bring them on, because, we've had problems in the past. This has all been an experiment. It's not like we had a grand scheme and it all planned out. It all worked out exactly like we wanted. A lot of it's just been trial and error. Well, if you have a problem with a company that is sponsored on WFR, I can't speak for other groups. I can speak for this one. If you have a problem with any company that's sponsored on there, you can say exactly what your problem is.
Right.
But you got to be tactful, be respectful,
Right.
Wait until, listen, I understand, man, if you got some film that just effed up and it's screwed up and it's wasting your time, it's wasting your money, I get it. You get pissed off. Let that pass. Then come say what you need to say in a tactful way Because listen, I want to hear if a company is screwing up. Seriously.
That's the whole point of the groups. The groups are there to protect group members and to help educate and protect. Hey, you had a bad experience with somebody, let everybody know. You had a great experience, let everybody know. You came up with an experience, let everybody know. That's what the groups are for, right?
Yeah, exactly. My whole thing is you can say whatever you want to, but just be tactful about it. When I was in the Marine Corps, that was the biggest thing they pounded into your head. You can say and do whatever you want to, but you better be tactful. And it's the same here. And it's not got nothing to do with me going to kick you off because you're not tactful. It's simply respect. Be respectful of who you're talking about, because whoever has that company, they're just like you and me. They get up, they put their pants on just like we do. They go to work. They're trying to make a living for their family, just like I am, just like you are. And if you don't, even if you have bad thoughts about that person, you don't know the person's family, you don't know the situation. We just don't deal with it. I mean, we just don't. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to see it. I don't think other people want to see it. If you want to tell us, what's wrong with a product or what's wrong with a brand or a company, I'm totally happy with that. I'm completely cool with that. It's the way that you say what you say that can get you kicked off or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely. I think it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense to me. And if anybody has any questions, just jump in anytime. I'll jump into the comments real quick. We have quite a few to catch up with. Robbie said, even if Rick was getting super rich from WFR, good for him. Everyone wishes they could. I have been in the group since day one. Rick and Ralph has, in my opinion, and a couple others have been most helpful people to so many for free. And there are so many who charge for what they do. Thank you. Rhett said 4-door cars, regardless of the film, need to start at $300, a couple of hours of working, invoicing, time, phone. We aren't charging enough for our time. I mean, Rhett, in my opinion, you want to get as much as you can for the service you're providing, and ultimately the market works itself out, and that stuff just you can get any price for any service.
Price is relative too, and it's relative to a lot of things. Business models. One person's business model might be to do as many vehicles as they possibly can,
right,
and do it that way. Like, I'll just throw a number out here. Like the $99 places, everybody always says, oh, it's a $99 shop. Listen, if that person's happy making $99 a car,
right,
so be it. Who cares? I don't care. It doesn't affect me. If you want to do it right up the street from me, I really don't care. I mean, that depends on where I'm at. And like I said, it's all relative and it's all perspective, your location. But people doing $99 tent jobs, I get it. I get both sides of it. A lot of the people doing $99 tent jobs, or we'll just say cheap, a lot of them have. Go ahead.
There's just the problem with that. Like, there's no two sides. Okay. I didn't even hear you out and I interrupted you. I want to hear you out. But let me just throw this out there. I feel like you can't be mad at the $99 tin shops because that's what free market is. And they're offering a different service, and there's always going to be what people may ask for when they say there shouldn't be $99 tin shops, you wouldn't want in any other industry that you're dealing with on the consumer level. You wouldn't want price fixing and minimum prices just based off of profit levels. Like, you would want it to work out the way it works out, and people will pay you more for certain services and people will pay you less, and that's what it is.
I don't think Outback Steakhouse is jealous of McDonald's. I don't think Red Robin's jealous of Burger King. And that's the whole thing is listen, if you're worried about a $99 guy or a cheap guy, you might just be the cheap guy yourself if you're that worried about it. Because if you're not wanting to be that cheap person, or perceived as that cheap person, then do something about it.
Right. And that's what it's about, is learning that there are things that can be done about it, like a heat box, which Ralph made a couple of videos on Facebook, and I want to talk to him more about tomorrow. And that's what these groups provide. Is one of them is selling techniques that people may never knew existed. They might just have one type of film and just been slapping it on, asking, whatever they're asking for it.
Can I give you my opinion on, and this is not based on a number, this is just based on knowing people. If you're, and this is my own experience also with a crap ton of different window film shops, if you're charging cheap, whatever that's relative to you, whatever price number that is for you to be cheap, if you are charging cheap, a big majority of those people are simply not confident in their sales ability. And listen, they might be the greatest window tinter on the planet, but their weakness may be talking with people, understanding people, understanding how to sell stuff.
Sure.
And if you're in that position, you need to be on these groups more than anybody else.
Sure. Because there's different aspects to a tint business, right? It's not just tinting windows.
Exactly. It's not just tinting windows. Everything comes down to your relationship with your customer. Now, you know, I watched, you know, you and Chris last week, and there were some interesting things that came up. I'm like, man, I hope I get asked this question, you know, but
bring it up. Ask yourself.
Well, listen, okay, very similar to Chris. If you walk into my showroom, there's nothing to show. There is literally just a heat lamp box and the 2 slides on it, just like Chris, by the way. There's 2 slides on it. One of them's regular tint, one of them's ceramic. One of them knocks out heat, a lot of heat, one of them doesn't. And I used to hang up displays all over my wall, and I used to, you know, trust the window film manufacturers to sell the film for me. It doesn't work like that. I mean, it does sometimes. Don't get me wrong. There's people that have made, you know, done very well, but it's a very specialized thing. Me personally, my business model is not to see how many cars I can do at this level, you know, at this stage in my career. Oh, there's something else. There's nothing wrong with doing 2 or 3 cars a day. You don't have to worry about or try to compete with these people doing 15, 20, whatever, you know, whatever crazy number you're going to put on it, or if you think it's crazy, whatever. It's all relative, right? But figure out what business model you want to have. Figure out what's going to make you happy in your life. Listen, I can tint 5 to 7 cars a day by myself. I'm not going to do it. It's not what I want to do. I don't want to do that. My fat butt's not trying to do that. You know, with or without a plotter, with or without help, I don't want to do it.
2 to 3? How many do you do typically?
Listen, I'm happy with as little as 2 cars a day, but 2 to 3, I'm happy. If somebody else pops up, I got 3 cars in the book. Yeah, I could do that extra 4th car. I could do a 5th car and possibly a 6th car. But
is it just yourself in the shop?
It's basically just me. It's my wife comes in, you know, she helps me. She answers the phone, talks to customers. She preps vehicles. She's not tinting yet. I don't think she'll ever tint. Well, maybe, but she doesn't really want to tint. She's scared I'm going to treat her like another tinter learning. You know, I'm kind of hard on people. Well, her perception is I'm hard on people, and she thinks I'll be hard on her. But I'm totally happy with it. She helps me a ton. And but ultimately, I don't want to have all the extra stress of a gazillion cars a day. I've worked in so many shops. I've been in speed shops, you know, me and 2 other, the fastest I've ever tinted anything. Myself and 2 other guys were in the shop in Tampa, and it was right off of Hillsborough Avenue, close to Busch Gardens. And we did 2 cars, me and 2 other guys. We did 2 vehicles in 30 minutes. And I mean, full, complete cars. And I don't remember what the first one was, but I remember the second one was a freaking Volkswagen Passat or Jetta or something, which at that time, I hated those things. Like, I think a lot of people hated those. And so I know what it takes to do something fast. And it's just not for me. I want to enjoy. I got into window tinting, first off, because the money was better than detailing. But once I got into it, it became a craft. It became something I enjoyed.
Right.
And when I have to do a crap ton of work, it feels way more like work than it does some, you know, a hobby. So, I mean, if I'm doing 2 or 3 cars, 4 cars a day tops, I'm happy. Any more than that, I'm getting pissed off. I'm going home in a bad mood. I'm coming back to work the next day in a bad mood. I don't want to do that many.
Sure.
Listen, if I wanted to be rich, I would not have got into window film. I would have gotten something else.
So if you're only doing a few cars a day, I feel like it becomes especially important to be able to upsell those clients so that your average ticket can be higher. Because to Rhett's point, you know, like, yeah, you'd want every car to be at least $300. And really the way to accomplish that is you have to offer a low price option, a middle option, a high option. And what you can best hope for is that your average car at the end of the week was over $300, essentially, you know, rounding themselves out. What do you do to keep your prices in a range that works for you with such low volume?
Well, the first thing I do, here's my methodology is that I will, first off, Google. That's where a big majority of my work comes from. Just like Chris was saying, get reviews. Now, here's the deal. You say get reviews, and people are thinking, well, how do I do that? I've been in business for years, and I've only got like 15. How do I get reviews? Well, if you know you want reviews, all you got to do is figure out how to get them. And so we can talk about that in a second. But ultimately, you want to look better than your competition. If you look better than everybody else, if you have more reviews, if you have a higher ranking, rating than everybody else, you're going to get called. And it doesn't matter if you're number one. Now, you do want to be in the top three. If you're out of the top three, you're going to miss out on a lot. Okay. So if you're not in the top three, go ahead.
Important to you is online presence, how you look online, and obviously appearing within at least the top three of whatever search we're talking about. Yeah.
Yes. And then let's say it's really dead and I want some work. I just do Facebook ads and it gets the work in.
Okay. So Facebook ads do work for you.
Yeah, they absolutely work. There's so many things you can do with it. I mean, you can selectively pick who you want stuff to go to, trends, what they're talking about. I mean, it is awesome.
How did you learn how to do Facebook ads? Is that something you self-taught or?
I just started playing with it. I'd gotten to an area where, I was the low man on the totem pole as far as, window tinters. There was a couple other guys that had been there forever, and I'm just trying to, make my presence known. And so I started experimenting with Facebook ads, and, I found things that worked, things that didn't work. A lot of times if you go to social marketers or people that are experts on the internet, et cetera, one of the things they're going to tell you is you have to create posts that are engaging. Well, you're like, what the hell does engaging mean? All that means is somebody else going to be interested in what you're saying or what you're trying to, provide? And if they are going to be interested in it, is there somebody else doing it? What are they doing? Can you improve? Can you be better than them? Now, sometimes it's better not to change the wheel. Hey, if something's working, why not do it? There's plenty of people out there. Okay, prime example. There was a guy in Florida that was killing it, making way better money than me. But he was nowhere close, and I'm not going to mention the person, directly, but he was nowhere close to the skill I had. And I'm sitting here, I'm scratching my head like, how is this guy getting more work than me? This is BS. Secretly I'm telling myself, this guy sucks. What in the heck am I doing wrong? Or what is he doing right was the question. Now, listen, that's something else. Window tinting is not just window tinting. You're also in a business. So, you've got to learn business things, marketing, and that's what the guy was doing better than me. He was a better marketer. I mean, he just knew people better than I did, or at least he knew how to sell them, through different ways than I did. And so I realized that is a weakness that I have, and I've got to get better.
Sure.
And so I did. But my point is listen, there's guys out there, I don't care if they're great, good, bad, somewhere in the middle. You can learn from everybody. I don't care who it is. You can learn. Mm-hmm. Even if it's learning what not to do, you're still going to learn. And you just magnify it now that we have social media.
Yep. And, when you see another person, like I feel like you see another tinter in a group and you don't agree with them on something, at the end of the day, like why focus on that one thing you don't agree with them on when there's another 1,000 things you do agree with them on? Like it doesn't make sense to group people based off of one opinion or one interaction or whatever it is. It's crazy.
It's human nature. It's human nature. We profile people and circumstances based off of, what we've already experienced in our own lives. Everybody's experience is different though. So, listen, we all profile people. We all have prejudices. We all have a certain idea of what's good and bad. And that's why I go back to everything's relative. There's a lot of other groups out there, and every one of them, even the crappiest groups that you can think of, if you're looking for valuable information, if you're trying to learn, if you just go on to social media and say, I want to learn stuff that's going to help my business. I want to learn stuff that's going to help make me a better tinter. Just like you said prior, ignore the negative stuff. Look past it. If you get caught up on the negative stuff, you're going to miss all the positive stuff. And even in the most negative groups, most of the time they're still more positive.
Right.
But it doesn't take very much negative to give a roar, to give a vibe. Oh, this group sucks, or these people over here suck, or you get my drift. It doesn't take much. Just like if you're getting reviews, Google. You can have it takes basically 100 5-star reviews to make up for one 1-star review. Like if you want to be a 5.0 perfect rating, and one person comes on there and you're not up to at least 100 reviews yet, you're going to drop to a 4.9 period. But the point I'm making on that is it only takes one person to really kind of just, make something look bad. You can call it bad apple or whatever, but it can just put a dampener on everything. And so, I don't know. I guess that goes back to us getting rid of what we consider bad apples.
So let me jump back into the comments, and let's see. I want to catch them all. So Rhett had asked, should manufacturers help with Facebook ads? So you learned yourself. I think there's a lot. I know there's a lot of great videos on YouTube that can help. If anybody's looking to learn, I feel like YouTube's going to be your number one resource. And anything you find, look for, the top results are going to be probably the most accurate, and wash out anybody who wants you to pay for more information. The good information's out there for free. And what people hide behind paid doors is they're just trying to get you to be excited and pay. And then you probably get an empty box at the end. So the good information's free out there. Now, his question was, should the manufacturers help with Facebook ads? So here's the thing. I think absolutely. If I was manufacturing window film, I would absolutely have a program to help my dealers with Facebook ads, because the more successful they are, the more successful everybody is. Now, with that said, I can tell you that from my own experience, I think there's only one window film manufacturer that actually knows how to run Facebook ads well, and that's Flex Film. And we can talk to Ralph more about that tomorrow. And the reason I say Flex Film, and I know that they're good with ads, I don't know that they offer that as a service to their dealers, but I just simply know from personal experience that I see Ralph's face and Flex Film's products every single day on my Facebook and my Instagram. So they have it down for sure. And I have no problem with that. I think if you want your audience to see your message, you have to use ads these days, or else nobody's going to see it.
Yeah, you're right about that. Absolutely. I'm off in space thinking about Ralph, because we have so many conversations.
Do you do any, do you post, so you post your work and then you make it into an ad, and that brings you business sometimes. Do you also post your work and not sponsor it, or do you just post when you're going to sponsor?
You're talking about if I'm advertising for my shop, what do I do?
You said on Facebook, sometimes you'll promote posts, right? You'll boost posts?
Yes. Sometimes I will. Sometimes, listen, a picture. Okay, check this out. A lot of people are like, well, if I'm going to do an ad or I'm going to do a post, I want it to look the best. So I want to put the best car that I get in here. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you put the absolute best car in there, then that's the audience you're trying to get.
It might not be the most relatable car, right? Yes.
Listen, I know like Dave Dellinger, he does, exotic cars all day, every day for Expel over in San Antonio or Houston. I'm sorry. He does stuff like that all the time. Me personally, I could not do a Lambo, a Ferrari, and all this other stuff, Porsche. I couldn't do it every day. I would go absolutely nuts. I couldn't do it. If I'm going to make a post, I'm going to post it about cars I want to tint. I'm going to put a Nissan Altima up there. Hey, this looks awesome, or whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put cars that I want to work on up there. I don't want to work on these high-end cars. Don't get me wrong. Every now and then I'll take one in, because it does look good to, put that on your business Facebook or to promote it. I get it. It's just whatever you're looking to do. If you want to do exotic cars, then go for that market. If you just want to do everyday run-of-the-mill Hondas, Toyotas, Nissan, Chevys, then post that. And I mean, if you want to do 4-wheel drive mud trucks, post that. But as a window tinter, I wouldn't post it. But it's all up to you.
That's a really great point you bring up, because I think sometimes a tinter may be intimidated, thinking, okay, I see all these shops posting supercars, so I don't have supercars, so it's not worth posting the cars that I do have. And really, like Rick just said, you want to post for your audience. So if your audience is supercars and your service is geared towards supercars and your shop is geared towards supercars, then yes, you want to post supercars. But if you have a shop that's geared towards C classes, you want to post C classes. If that's,
yes.
you want to look to where you're going and post accordingly. So don't be intimidated by what other people's shops look like or what other cars they're taking pictures of, because that might not necessarily be what's most effective for you.
Exactly. So, something else I want to add to it too. Now, don't get me wrong. Image, I know some people believe image is everything. I disagree with that. What I mean by that is, look, I have a beard. I sound like a hillbilly. I don't dress up. And if you come into my shop, there's nothing on the wall. It looks very empty. To me, the most important thing, instead of saying image is everything, relationships are everything. If all I can do is talk with a customer, I'm going to sell them some film. I don't want them to get confused with different numbers of shades. People come in, hey, this one guy was going to put 25, or this other guy was going to do 20, or this guy's going to do 15. I make it very simple. I've made it very efficient to deal with customers. It's quite simply, I tell my customers, there's basically 3 darknesses of film. Don't get sidetracked on the numbers. You basically have legal for wherever you are. Then you have, like the next one up would be, basically in between legal and limo tint. So do you want to be black the hell out? Do you want to be legal, or do you want to be somewhere in between? Okay, if they ask for somewhere in between, okay, I'm going to put the 20% on. Maybe the manufacturer I'm using says it's 15. Maybe they say it's 18. Maybe they say it's 20. It doesn't matter. I don't have to tell the customer that. All I have to do is say, look, how dark do you want it? Do you want to be legal? If you don't want to be legal, how much darker than legal you want to be? The numbers can really confuse people, my experience. Sure. So I try to stay away from the numbers. Same thing with specs, just like y'all were saying in the other one. Specs are not just confusing to the customer, they're confusing to window tinters. Sure. And that's almost by design. And I hate to say that, but I mean, I've been doing this a long time, and every one of them is going to have their biases. Just like if I'm trying to sell a customer a tint job, I have biases. I want to sell them a tint job. Listen, what does my window film manufacturer want to do? They want to have a good relationship, but they want to sell film. And so everybody has biases. I get that. I don't know where else I was going with that, so I'll let you go.
Understood. Mike Powell said in regards to online posts, he said, don't just post a pic. If you do post and comment, not trying to sell a customer, explain to the customer what you bring to them and how you can benefit them. Once I started changing the comments and tags, I gained on Google thousands on what is seen. So he's talking about when he's posting pictures to like his business page on Google, including a description of what it is important, and you start to get those numbers back. Google sends you those through an email every month and lets you know this amount of people viewed your pictures, this amount of people click through, and so on.
Yeah.
And then Adam said, treat every customer like they're a brick of gold. One happy customer will tell roughly 5 people their experience. One unhappy will tell 20 people about their experience. And, Adam, obviously you're 100%, 1,000% correct. And what's different these days, too, is that one review can end up telling tens of thousands of people what their experience was, or hundreds of thousands. There's no real limit on it. We don't know how long these comments will live on the internet and how many people potentially will see them in the future. So he's right. You want to aim to exceed your customers' expectations, not just meet them,
Yes.
And if you exceed them, that's how you're going to get that exceptional service. And exceptional is what people leave reviews about and what people talk about, not, average or, what they just expect.
When you say exceptional, can I add to that?
Absolutely.
Okay. If I asked you to define what exceptional is, okay, I'm not going to ask you. I'm going to pretend like you asked me.
Okay. What is exceptional in your opinion? Okay. What's your definition?
How the customer feels when they leave, period. How they feel when they talk to you. It's how they feel. most people, not just customers, because we're customers to somebody also. How do we make purchasing decisions? How do we make decisions on who to do whatever we're having to do for us? It's how we feel about that person. Okay. It's just like, yes, you can say go to TNT window tinting, you'll get a great job. But, the reality is, if you look at like my reviews or our reviews, yes, people are going to say TNT window tinting, but one of the things that comes up more than anything else is your name, who you are.
Sure.
People aren't dealing with TNT window tinting. They're dealing with Rick Tallman. People aren't dealing with Tint Wiz. They're dealing with Eric DeVash.
Sure.
And your bottom line is your relationships for that moment of time or the moments of time in the future you're going to deal with a person. Your first impression and your last impression obviously needs to be good, and everything in the middle means you better put out an awesome job or as good as you can put out. But the whole exceptional thing is like going back to reviews. How do I get reviews? Sometimes people don't want to give away their secrets, but here's the deal. If I've got a customer that I want in my shop again, they come in, they pay me $340, $300, whatever it is for this ceramic job. I want that person to come back. I want him to tell his friends about me. I don't want the guy spending, buying the cheapest stuff I have to tell his friends. I want the guy spending the money to tell his friends. So when that person leaves, they're going to leave knowing that, obviously I'll warranty anything if they ever have a problem, et cetera, et cetera. But one of the best things you can do as a shop is go buy some T-shirts with your shop's name on it. When you got a really good customer, give them a T-shirt, give them a keychain, give them something that makes them feel good and appreciated. Everybody wants to feel appreciated. Mm-hmm. It's like, listen, I'm getting ready to spend $600, on my van, on our van tomorrow to get some work done on it. And dropping $600, I better feel good about the person that's about to work on my car, right? So if you're dropping $340 with me, you better feel good about doing it. And so for me to get good reviews, I ask people, I'm like, listen, well, first off, I don't directly ask them. I get a roundabout way, like, okay, how did you hear about me? Oh, I found you on Google. You had a ton of awesome reviews. I mean, everybody says you're the greatest, the best, most wonderful. That's why I came. And so when I'm done with their vehicle, I'm like, listen, I know you told me you found us on Google, and, I explained to them the importance of Google. I don't make it long and drawn out, but listen, you giving me a review is going to help me tremendously. And you don't even realize, because that stays up there, just like you said. I don't always go into all the details, but long story short, you're going to help me by doing this.
Right.
And if you're going to help me, what am I going to do for you besides just give you a great job and say, come again? Right. I'm going to do something to make you feel good, to make you feel appreciated. Like, okay, before I had T-shirts, before I had keychains, maybe I'd be like, hey, you got your, all the side windows and the back window done. Hopefully that goes good for you. If you're happy, I'm happy. But listen, I'll tell you what, especially if they showed interest. Like a lot of times I'll have customers, they'll say, well, should I get a strip? Shouldn't I get a strip? And they're on the border, right? Mm-hmm. And so when I'm done, I say, listen, I heard you and your wife talking about possibly having a strip or not having it. I'll tell you what I'll do. If you would just go give an honest review for me on Google, come back, I will give you the strip. Because, and I tell the customer straight up, I said, listen, that review is worth more to me than giving you a strip. And that strip, so we're both getting something out of it. Now, some people be like, oh, I don't pay for reviews. Listen, if that's considered paying for a review, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm not going to hand nobody money for a review, but think about it. If you have legitimate customers that have used you, who better to give you a review? Why would you not offer them a reason to give you a review? I hate doing glare strips, but that's how important a good review is to me. I'll do a glare strip for free.
That's a great one to get.
I'll give it away to you. And if that's going to get me a good review, why not do it? Because how much material have you got? How long does it take to do a strip? I mean, seriously, it's not that long. Yeah, it's aggravating a lot of times, but I'll do reviews all day long I'll do strips all day long to get reviews.
The perceived value of a strip is very high up there compared to the cost of actually installing the strip. So.
Exactly. And it's not just the window film industry. It's not just me that does that. I went to Subway and they're like, hey, if you do this for us, you come back and we'll give you free cookies.
Sure.
It's the same thing. So
the idea is instead of bringing down your price, you're finding ways to elevate their experience and add more to the ticket instead of just looking at a discount. So if a customer wants a discount, you're better off offering them something additional for a discounted rate so that they're spending a little more and you're not diminishing the value of the service that you're providing for them. Would you agree?
Oh, one thing I never do, I never give people discounts just because they ask. But when somebody asks me for a discount, that is a perfect time to wind up getting a good review.
Sure.
And okay, so let's say somebody comes in and says, well, man, such and such up the road's $20 cheaper than you. I say, yes, he is. And now, first off, I'm selective with my customers. If it's a customer I don't care if I keep or lose, then I don't care if I keep or lose. I'm still going to talk respectable to them. I'm still going to be nice to them. I'm not going to go way out of my way to deal with them because, listen, it took me forever to learn this, but we can choose our customers. You don't have to have those customers come in that give you a hard time all the time. And the way that you separate those customers from better customers is upping the price. Well, how can you get away with upping the price? Well, first off, obviously the quality of your work needs to be on point. If it's not on point, suffer through the people you don't like until it gets on point. Start raising your price. You can always go up, right? But you can't go down. It is excuse me.
You can go down.
I don't know. Everybody has different perspectives on what a good business model and what it is and what it isn't.
Everybody has their own practices.
Yeah.
So Chris Queen was late in here today, and I think it's a great reason to bring up why he was late, even so there's no way to be late to this, but Chris, thanks for watching. But what happened was there was a post he just made and he showed a little finger in the back window of a car, and the customer, I guess, probably was home at that point, so it's a good 30, 40, 50 minutes away. And the customer was upset. Chris was driving to the person's house, which was about, I guess, an hour away or so, and back, to just push down that little finger instead of just saying, hey, you have to come back to me. And, that's the right way of doing it, because obviously that's the exceptional, that's the unexpected. That's the way to turn a bad scenario into that customer is going to be happier with Chris driving there to take that bubble out than if there was no bubble to begin with. So like that bubble will add value to the tint job. Because it just said, wow, look what I'm getting for my money that he didn't even know, or he or she didn't even know they were going to get, which is that sort of customer service.
Yes. And that goes a long way. I think whatever he's doing great at it. After I watched, the biggest portion of that video with him, he was talking about reviews. Hey, man, I pull up 5-star and I'm like, well, let's see how many reviews this got and what he's got going on. And hey, man, the truth is in the pudding, right? I mean, whatever he's doing is working.
How many reviews do you remember about? I can pull it up, but
I think like 164, 165. He's got one more than like his next competitor. I'm pretty sure that was by design. Wow. So whatever he's doing is killing it. And I think there was a 3 or 4 year history, with his Google account getting reviews, and he's like I said, 164, 165. That's a good pace. That's a good pace.
It's almost about one a week.
Well, and going back to reviews, I've been in my shop here in Noonan for just over a year. And in that amount of time, I have gotten 95-star reviews in just barely over a year. And now reviews also depend on where you are. Listen, the last place I was in, it took me 3 years to get 113 or 115 5-star reviews.
Sure.
I got like most of that in 1 year here. And so there's so many variables. But to get good reviews, there's several small things you can do. But to get the review, make the person feel happy when they leave. But the one thing I loved about giving or telling them, hey, come back and I'll give you the strip. if you're going to give somebody for what something that they perceive as basically free, they're going to give you the review to come back and get it.
Sure.
I mean, seriously, they're going to, if you say, hey, give us a review, come back and I'll give you a t-shirt. I haven't done that yet, but I guarantee you tell somebody that, they're going to go give you a review, and they're going to come back and pick the t-shirt up.
I would even say, if it was me, I would go as far as saying, give them the shirt up front and say, hey, review for a shirt, and I'll give you the shirt now so you don't have to come back, because they've already now kind of obligated themselves to do it. I know those are two train of thoughts, and you can say you want to see it first, but ultimately there's no way to prove who's wrong or right. Do whatever you want, but I'm just saying.
No, I fully agree, but this brings up something. I had Travis Lipham. He's a local window tinter here in the area. Me and him get along fine. We go hang out sometimes. He was over here. Okay, here, first off, I'm going to tell you my opinion on this.
Okay.
I don't like giving somebody something first. I don't want to just give a customer. Listen, we do window tinting. Sometimes we might not see this customer ever again. Sometimes it might be 2 years, even if they're a repeat customer. They might leave your door, get distracted, and totally forget they told you they were going to give you a review.
Certainly.
I mean, it happens. So he was over here with me, and I had a customer, and this guy was a preacher, right? He's talking about the Lord, God, this, that, and the other, like, and I asked him, I said, hey, man, if you don't mind, would you give us a review? And, oh, absolutely. I found you because of reviews. Yeah, I'll do that as soon as I leave. Travis is like, man, I guarantee that guy's going to give you a review. I said, I don't know, man. I said, I just don't know. Sure enough, he never left a review. Now, that's just one example.
It happens.
If people do not have an incentive to give you something, they're not going to give you nothing. Now, I'm not saying that's true all the time.
You can pay it forward. You can definitely pay it forward.
Now, you can still pay it forward. They're still going to talk to people. If you come up, they're still going to give you a quote-unquote review. It just may not be on Google. It might just be talking to their friend. But if you really...
There could also be the kind of person who says, you know what, I don't want to come back, so I'm not going to leave a review. I'm not going to come back for the strip. Whereas if you said, hey, I'll give you the strip, so you don't have to come back, and I'll give you the shirt. I'll give you the strip now, and I'll give you the shirt or whatever it is if you leave us a review. Like, that might be somebody who might not have came back, but then does leave you a review. So I really don't think that. I think certain things like that go along with sales like that. That's an upsell or a review tactic. Like, your perception can. It's difficult to really know, because we all have our perception, and maybe we tried it a certain amount of times and based off of that. But so who knows? You do it either way. If you're getting reviews, you're doing it right.
I completely agree with you. If you're getting reviews, I'm not going to say you're doing something wrong. I'm just simply saying how I do it.
That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. So Raphael Van Dexter said we are at 4.9 with 639 reviews. Raphael, that's freaking badass. Good job.
How long did it take to do that?
Yeah, how long did it take to accumulate those 639 reviews? But that is a great job.
Raphael, how long did it take? Comment, buddy.
And Mitchell Goldman in the house? He said, shout out to my dog, White Boy Rick. That would be
What's up? I don't sling dope. What's up, Mitchell? LSU, baby, go Tigers.
And Brett
I wish I could say that about the Saints.
Oh, I have no idea what's going on with football, but I know there's something going on, right?
It went on yesterday. LSU and Clemson played the national title game.
Okay. And somebody won, I assume, and somebody lost. And
it was a tie, man. First time in history they ever had a tie. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. No, I'm just joking. No, LSU kicked butt. I'll be honest, I was worried. I mean, listen, I'm not necessarily a Clemson or an LSU fan, but if I was going to be either one of them's fan, it'd be LSU, because they're just closer to me, and it is what it is. I like LSU. I'm a Georgia Bulldog fan, so it is what it is on that too. But that's off topic.
Well, Raphael, there's no topics. We're not bound by any topics here. We're not bound by time or topics. Jason Thomas said that he has 265 five-star reviews. Curious how long it took for you to get that, Jason. That's really great regardless. And Raphael Van Dexter updated. He was the person with 639 reviews, and he said he's been doing it for about 15 years.
That's excellent. And most of that's organic reviews, I would assume. That's killing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once you learn how to get a review, it doesn't take you long to, you continue getting those because, the whatever you're doing right, you figured out, so you continue doing it.
Right.
It's,
right.
And so that's awesome.
And once you get reviews too, it's kind of a snowball effect, because then people are finding you based off of your reviews, and those are people that are more likely to leave you a review. If they're finding you through ways that don't relate to a review site, like not Google, not Yelp, they're finding you a different way, they're less likely to leave you a review on those sites, because obviously if they did use those sites, they would probably have checked your reviews and so on and so forth. So it is a snowball effect. It is harder at the beginning than later on, because once people shop with you because you have a lot of reviews, they see you have a lot of reviews, they want to add to those reviews and so on.
Yeah.
So Brian Moore asked, what goals do you set for each year? My goal is to double my income from the previous year. Rick, what kind of goals do you have this year for your business, for TNT? If you've set any goals, or what are your thoughts on goals, and how do you handle that?
I've already achieved my goal. Like, my goal is to do 2 or 3 cars a day at 300 to 340, 500 plus a pop. That is my goal. I've achieved it. Now, is that every day? No. Another goal I have is to take 2 months off. Like, I'm not going to say I'm on the downswing of my career, but because if I'd have known what I know now, I would have done exactly what I'm doing now when I started. Like, I would have just been, got tons of reviews and charged higher and been happy doing 2 or 3 a day. I would have been totally happy with that. My goals as far as this business, I do want to get another plotter. I've had 3. Actually, I already have another plotter. Ralph's actually helping me get the plotter running properly and all this stuff, because I'm not good with that.
Okay.
So a plotter is definitely in my future. But other than that, I mean, I've achieved my goals as far as the business goes. And Window Film Revolution is quite honestly my new goal. I want to achieve goals through Window Film Revolution. I want to be respected in the industry. I want to put my mark on the industry. I want to do something positive for the industry that I'll be remembered for. I think a lot of us are like that, to be quite honest. But that's my goal. My goal is to do something great in the industry, or several things great over time, and just be remembered as somebody who tried to help the industry and did good with that. Sure. That's my goal. Sure. My other goal of being a great window tinter, having a successful business, I've achieved that. It all comes down to, what do you actually want to do? Everybody has to ask themselves that question. What kind of lifestyle do you want to have? What kind of money do you want to make? Are you happy, in a $100,000 house, or is it going to take $1 million house to make you happy, or anywhere below, in between, whatever? As a person, you just have to figure out what's best for you, what's best for your family. Sure. Anybody could easily say, well, making more money's got to be better. Not always. Right. Not for me. I mean, I've known some filthy rich people. I've known poor people. Listen, me and you were talking the other day. I'm essentially, quote unquote, trailer park trash. I mean, I started off very poor. I was around a lot of people that were negative. And I had to break out of that. But once I did, what kind of life do I want to live? I'm very content with what I have. Even when I don't have much, I'm content. I'm happy. Buying something else is not going to make me any happier. Don't get me wrong. Money can definitely buy things that can contribute to your happiness. But ultimately, it's your relationship with people. For me, it's my relationship with people that makes me happy.
Sure. There's such a wide variety of ways to run your businesses, sizes of businesses, just every aspect. It's just like humans. There's infinite ways to do it, and everybody has their own intentions and their own goals and so on. So there is no right or wrong. And the idea is, hey, we're all in the same industry. That's the idea. And Jason said it's called finding the balance.
Yeah, you got to find your own personal balance. Listen, I got a buddy, man. He is like the Energizer Bunny, man. He's older than I am, and he is just hustling. I got a lot of respect for him. His name's Nelson Rodriguez. He's got his own business. He also works at Monster Customs over here in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy can just simply outpace me. I'm not saying he's faster than me. I'm just simply saying
he's faster than you.
When I'm ready to stop, I'm done. Like his place where he's ready to stop is like, 3 more cars past me. Okay. And then he's done. But everybody has their limit of what they do.
Sure.
Listen, I'm happy with 2 or 3 cars. When I first started tinting, it took me all day to do 1 car, and it was a half-butt job half the time. Sure. But they kept paying me, so I kept doing it. But I remember it used to take me all day to tint a car. Now it's like, if I'm hustling, I can get one done sometimes in an hour, sometimes an hour and a half. That exact same car tomorrow might take me 3 or 4 hours. It just depends on how I feel. And but that's the whole reason we have our own businesses, is so sure. we can do what we want to, how we want to, when we want to. And you can always say, well, I don't have a boss. I don't have to go to work. You still have to go to work, or you at least still have to figure out how to make some money. Instead of having one single boss, I look at it like I got a ton of bosses.
Sure.
But I can quit any one of them, and they can fire me too. Right. If I'm not performing at at the expectations they have, they're going to fire me. They're not going to use me anymore.
Right.
If I have a customer that I really don't like dealing with for whatever reason, I don't have to do work for them again. I could just as easily recommend them to go somewhere else, tactfully. I'm not going to be like, hey, get the hell out of my shop. But, you can pick and choose your customers. They can pick and choose you. It works both ways. Some people are scared to death of anybody walking away. And listen, there's a time and a place for it. Just that time and place is not at my shop.
Understood.
If you're looking to be a big Mac Daddy shop, I'm probably not the person to talk to. I can give you some pointers, but go to the people that have the big Mac Daddy shops. If you want to live, comfortably doing 2 or 3 vehicles a day, I'm the person to talk to. It just all comes down to what you want to do as an individual for your family and, whatever you're doing.
Okay. So Liz said that she agrees with you, Rick, and Brian said he just wants to build Datsuns. Liz also said stress-free working is the best. So
I love working on my little Nissans, Muddy. I love his. Listen, if you don't know who Brian is, and Liz, I'm assuming is Liz Lazar, correct?
Yep.
I love her. I love it. Brian, he has this badass little freaking Nissan. He's done put a motor in it, suspension. It's gorgeous. I'm not going to say I'm a Nissan fanatic, but I really like my Nissan hard body trucks. And I love the old Nissan trucks too. And he's got one that's just mint. It's beautiful. Totally beautiful.
So Chad M5 said he doesn't usually watch these talks, but this is a great one. Chad, thanks for joining. You joined a great one.
Hey,
it's the one
appreciate it, brother.
Thanks for watching. And then Chris Queen and Mike Powell had a question for you. I don't want you to feel on the spot, but they both asked, Chris Queen asked, Rick, do you use Tint Wiz? And then Michael Powell asked, what are your thoughts on Tint Wiz? Open thoughts. You don't use Tint Wiz now, right?
I do not use Tint Wiz now. Okay, I'm just going to be completely blunt, blatant, and obvious.
That's why we're live.
Listen, I've looked at some of the stuff on Tint Wiz, and I'm not going to lie. Some of it is over my head. Some of it's not. Some of it I can see a big, huge benefit to plenty of people. And I'm sure if I had it, it would benefit me. Ultimately, I think maybe it would be a good idea for you to do videos. Doing videos like this is awesome, but it's not telling people about Tint Wiz. I think you should tell people about Tint Wiz like you did me. So I don't personally use it. No, I don't. But
yep.
Does that mean there's not a place for it? Hell no, man. I'm talking to you because I respect you. I respect what you've done, and I see the potential in Tint Wiz. And a lot of other cats are going to see it too. You can go on your phone, schedule stuff, and it's more complicated than that. You're the guy to explain that.
Sure. So on that subject, one of the things we have planned this year, you mentioned making videos to help explain Tint Wiz. Tuesday's videos, that was the intentions. And, we do a little mix of Facebook topics, and then we talk about Tint Wiz, some of the episodes and so on. But we are going to be doing a intro to Tint Wiz step-by-step video to help everybody better understand and how to use Tint Wiz. That's definitely one of our goals this year, is to make onboarding, even easier and make everything just as easy as possible. Now, with that said, this is a good opportunity. I just kind of want to put it out there, and, Tint Wiz, because one of the questions I get often, I've got, I think from you, and I spoke to Ralph the other day briefly, and I've heard it from other people, is they'll say, hey, who are you? Are you a tinner? You just kind of came out of nowhere. And, my background, I've been in the window film industry for about 10 years in total. About 5 years ago, I opened a flat glass window film business in Los Angeles. And, I looked at it. We all look at businesses through our own perspective. I looked at it through mine. And some of the things I identified was, I said, we found ourselves the first year growing very quickly. And I said, I want to organize this business so that it can grow. We can provide customer service to our customers like they deserve and like they maybe haven't experienced before. And I want to do it in the most efficient way possible, because I came out of college into the recession, into the big recession we had around 2008, 2010, 2011. Yeah. And what I saw in the idea of, okay, big window film companies, how many of them are out there? There's a few. But what happens during those time periods is they have these big rent, big offices, big staff, big overhead. And what happens is they spend 8 or 10 years building the company big, and then 4 or 5 years can knock them right back on their butt, and it can take another 10 or so to build it. So what I'm saying is, I identified that I could build a software that would help my business grow. Okay. So it would help my staff answer the phones. It would help my consultants know where they were going to go and create proposals. It would help my installers know what needed to be done at the job. It would help my customers receive a level of customer service that I wanted to provide them. And I built the software, and I built it over the course of the 4.5 years I had the flat glass company. And then what happened was, I found myself with a rather large business. We were dominating Los Angeles area, Southern California. And I said, I had the opportunity. And the opportunity was, I said, I have this app that I love using and is our secret weapon and is how we got here. And then we have this window film company. And I saw them as two separate things. And we had the opportunity from now the largest window film company in the country. They were our competitor in LA, and they offered to purchase the window film company, the flat glass company, from me. And that gave me the opportunity to pivot and say, I'm going to sell that window film company. And instead of having a secret weapon in my pocket, I'm going to be able to focus full time on it and share that with the window film industry. And that is Tint Wiz. It was my secret weapon. And now for all those that want to use it, it's your secret weapon.
Listen, I when you were telling me, Tint Wiz is not going to be for everybody. That's my personal belief. I mean, window film's not for everybody. So Tint Wiz is not going to be for everybody. But for the people that Tint Wiz can really help, it's almost like, it's like the same as like if I got a plotter. If I have a plotter in here, it's going to make my life easier. It's going to make it faster for me to get things done. I'm going to move more efficient. So I look at Tint Wiz very much like I would look at a plotter. This is something that's going to help make my business more efficient, make it run more streamlined. And now if you look at a plotter, a lot of window tinters look at a plotter like, hey, I can have a plotter. I know it's going to show up to work every day. I know it's going to work. It's going to do what I ask it to do. Listen,
it doesn't make mistakes. It does the same thing over and over.
It's replacing what a person does, right? And Tint Wiz can replace what a person does, but without the person. You don't have to pay this person hourly, and so I mean, people can have different opinions on that too. But that's Tint Wiz is going to help like that, because instead of paying somebody $40, $50, $60, $80,000 a year, whatever it is, to keep up with all this stuff, you can have Tint Wiz and keep up with everything. It's like your own personal assistant.
That's it.
Am I correct in what I'm saying?
It's not only your personal assistant, because, it's a hub where everybody that operates your business, whether it's just you or whether it's you plus 10, can all access the same information and work through a process in a way that I know works, because our business was an example of it, and the businesses that use it now are an example of it. So, there's a lot of CRMs out there, and there was a reason why we wanted to build Tint Wiz for ourselves. And now, I have the opportunity to share it with everybody because I had the opportunity to put myself in a position by selling the company to where I can do this as a full-time. Now, another point is things we did like the Tri-Edge cards, and we do different giveaways, and we like to give back, and we're doing these videos and so on. The way I look at the industry and my involvement in the industry is, yes, I've been in the industry for 10 years, but I'm still young. This is a 20, 30-year game. I have 20 or 30 years ahead of me. This is a long game. We're early as far as technology goes, okay? There is a reason why there is an opportunity to outsell my competition at the time I had the window film company, and there was a reason why, not everybody's using a CRM yet. So while I understand that, I really, really believe that as an industry, we can completely come together. We can help elevate every part of it. So we can elevate consumer awareness. We can elevate the knowledge we share within each other. We can bring quality to different levels of the business, and we can work together in ways that nobody even thought of. So the Tri-Edge, for example, was a way that I saw it as a way, and people constantly ask, can I buy the Tri-Edge? When are you going to get more of the Tri-Edge, and so on? So here's the thing. The Tri-Edge was one giveaway we did out of maybe 6 or 7. It just happened to be the one that gained so much awareness. Now, that's the goal, was to get awareness, but it's not just awareness for Tint Wiz. What I saw as an opportunity was I met Jay at the International Window Film Convention. Jay's the founder of Tri-Edge, and he is an impressive dude. And as I'm talking to him, people are coming up to him, talking about his tools and complimenting him. So what light bulb in my head was, hey, we could get your tools in our users' hands. That's going to introduce them to a new type of tool that they might not have experienced, that obviously is a good one. Then, if they need more, they can go buy them from tool companies. So the existing tool companies that sell them. That's why we gave them away and we didn't sell them. And the plan is we're doing that with other products, because that's a way we can get new products into tinters' hands with no cost to them.
Yes. And it's awesome you just mentioned that, and first off, going back to something we said earlier, this is totally off this particular topic we're talking about now, but everything you just said about how you want the industry to be uplifted and et cetera, you are the type of person that we want on Window Film Revolution. Now, there's people out there that are opposite from you that we don't want. But if anybody wants an example of who we want, it's people like you, people that want to do good things in this industry. I don't care if you're Eric at Tint Wiz and you got this badass freaking, the deal that you got. I don't care who you are. You can be just a regular Joe Blow tinter. I'm cool with that. Bring something positive, not just the WFR, it's the industry. Listen, I don't think you're committed to any one particular, group. You see value in all of them. I'm
in every single group, and I enjoy every group. I think every group has value, and it bothers me when I see people getting upset with another group, and because it's like, man, we're all one. We're all one as tinters. We're all one as Facebook tinters, and we're all one as people. So, hopefully it can come together. But I feel like I said before, everybody's on Boulevard of Window Tinters on Facebook. We're all on the same street. There might be gates up now, but we're all together.
Listen, we're all together. Just we don't always all get along with each other. That's all it is.
Exactly. But it's still family.
Everybody's got different personalities. Listen, there's people out there that I just don't like. And then there's people out there that just don't like me. Same with you. And you can always say, well, I don't know why you wouldn't like that guy. Who knows why? It doesn't matter. It's I just want positive people in this industry. And I know there's negative people. Be negative somewhere else. That's my whole take on that.
You say be negative somewhere else. I want to give my take on that. Don't be negative anywhere. Okay. Realize that the negativity is only something that you foster and that affects you. And once you let go of that sort of stuff and you realize, hey, we're all people. Let's all get along. Let's all see each other's sides of view. Let's all get past the things we don't agree on and focus on the things we do agree on. Once you do that, life becomes so much easier and happier and better. So I hope everyone can see that over time.
Way easier. There's way easier.
Weight off your shoulders.
Let me see. I had somebody ask me about my relationship with Ralph Van Pelt.
Okay.
And I do want to address that. When when I first heard of Ralph Van Pelt, I was working at a stereo shop that happened to do tint. It was, one of the more expensive shops that I could find when I moved back to Georgia, and I wanted to go to the most, I wanted to go to the most expensive shop I could find because I want to get paid, as high as I can get paid. So I'm looking for the most expensive tent shops around I can find. So I find one, and this was in Marietta, Georgia, and first time I ever heard about Ralph, this guy's like, hey, man, there's this guy that's sold me this, that, and the other, and the guy never mentioned to me that he personally knew Ralph. And so he's talking all this smack about him, and I didn't know Ralph. So I'm like, well, I don't care who he is, but the more and more I heard about him, it sounded like he was very educated on a lot of stuff. Like, there were certain things that I found out about him that, you can't just, you can't be a dumbass and know this stuff. Like, you actually have to know what you're talking about. And so that piqued my interest. I said, this guy did not have a favorable opinion on Ralph. Before I met Ralph, I didn't have a favorable opinion. Why? Because this guy's telling me there's something wrong with him. And so I'm like, okay. And he's like, listen, if this guy comes, I wish you could talk with this guy because you would be able to, like, as smart as you are with this stuff, you would be able to really call his bluffs and call him out, because I knew a crap ton about film from past experiences. And so I don't know how it happened, but I wind up meeting Ralph. And I don't know if I go out there to see him or what, but we get to talking, and I'm apprehensive. I'm extremely apprehensive. And so I don't know, it probably took 6 months to a year before, we really became close. I'm filling him out for this whole time. And the conclusion I came to was he's a great guy. He's a very intelligent person. I enjoy speaking with him, and we became best friends. But, a lot of people, I think Ralph kind of gets the raw end of the deal sometimes because, listen, if you was, I'll put it like this. Can you name the owner of Johnson's Window Film? Can you name the owner of Lumar? Can you name the owner of Suntech, ASWF? I mean, I would be willing to say
ASWF is Peter or Pierre. He's a French guy. There's a couple. But go ahead with your example. Okay,
so
ASWF,
really
we do have Pierre.
It's Pierre, yes.
Yeah.
But the point I'm getting at is most people have no clue who's running these companies.
Sure,
and Ralph is like basically the only one that has put himself out there. And he's had, film problems in the past. Everybody's had film problems. I've been doing this for 20 years, way before I met Ralph, and I was having film problems by films other than what he's carrying the whole time I've been doing this. There's always going to be a film problem at some point. And now there are some very good films, but my whole thing is the reason he catches the most grief is because he is a target. Listen, if the president of Lumar was on social media, somebody's going to come out and say, hey, man, your film screwed up on me, and I want to do this. Well, why do they do that? These same people, I've watched them come back and they want they want more film. They're talking how it's junk, but they want you to give them more of the same junk. They're calling it junk, but in the same breath, like I've listened in to phone conversations with Ralph. And so I've learned a lot about this other side of the industry that I never knew nothing about.
Well, we're going to have Ralph on tomorrow, so he's going to be able to kind of, I guess, touch on.
Oh, yeah. He can touch base on this. He might not, though. I feel like I'm in a position where I can say this where Ralph probably is not going to say it. Okay. But I mean, there's I've watched people literally be on WFR. And this is, a lot of this is in the past when we weren't moderating as well as we do now, but they'll be talking smack about his film. And I'm sitting here like, okay. And I would literally be sitting next to Ralph at his shop. That same person would call him like 10 minutes later and be wanting film. It's like all they wanted was free film. And so all I'm saying is with Ralph, I've learned to love him, care about him, but most importantly, respect him. You don't respect somebody if they're a piece of crap. I know Ralph personally. I know him in a business way. I love the guy. I absolutely love him. me and him are we're not necessarily the two guys you would envision as being really best friends, because we look totally different, we talk different. He's just a great guy, man. And if you had any of these other companies, especially some of these other companies that were literally selling the exact same film as him and selling more, listen, if people knew the name of the president or the owner of those companies, they would have got called out. But they don't know it, because Ralph's the only one that put himself out there. Ralph started off as a window tinter. You know, a lot of people don't know that. He had a very successful business back in the 90s, special effects, and he kicked butt. And it's like, you know, we should respect him a lot, because a big majority of these people that own these film companies have never laid a piece of film in their life. It's the facts, you know, so I have a lot of respect for him for that. He started off as a tinter. And how many tinters can say I started off tinting and now I own an actual, you know, distribution? You know, I sell my own film. Not many people can say that. So, you know, and here's the other deal too. The people who are going to talk the most and the loudest are generally the riffraff. If you've got, you know, listen, there's plenty of people, like if you're a good person, just like you said, if you have a problem with a film company, you go to the film company, you handle it. If you're
or you go publicly, you can go publicly, but you go publicly in a way that's going to help other people learn from your experience, because that's what it's about. Is you want everybody to know what happened so everybody can be aware and learn from your experience. Just
exactly.
As you have. Because that's what the groups are about, is learning from each other's experience. You can learn from your own mistakes. You can learn from other people's mistakes.
I'm just going to blatantly come out and say there's a lot of people that lie and do bad stuff. We'll just say that. There's a lot of people that have legitimate issues, and they present themselves tactfully. They present the problem tactfully. But there's just some people that are just not good people. I mean, that's in everything. But there's a lot of not good people, you know, that have, you know, opened their mouths. We'll just say that.
So jumping into the comments real quick, Daniel Puentes asked how old you are. That's a lighthearted, easy one.
He's going to have to guess first. I'm going to be like a woman on this one.
Oh, come on.
How old do you think I am?
All right, Daniel, how old do you think he is? And then while we're getting Daniel's guess, and just to point out, Daniel Puentes, thank you always for watching, Daniel. He was in the comments of one of our previous videos talking about how he finds it very important. And I think he posted his own video. I know he did. Saying how he finds it important to consistently post on Facebook. Then he had another post that he made showing himself. He was kind of, I guess, like going door to door, knocking on doors. He was at a Subway selling them, quoting some replacement film. And then just yesterday or today, he posted, you know, like, hey, who else is busy? I'm so busy right now. And it's like, Daniel, you're busy because you're doing the right things, because you're out there hustling. So keep sharing that information, because that sort of thing is inspiring for everybody.
Daniel was one of the stars on WFR. You know, he actually, we're going to have to do something in the future for him, because I have been watching Daniel for a while, and he's on WFR more than I am. Like, seriously, he's on there commenting, posting way more than even me. And I think he's the top contributor currently.
Wow.
So, you know, we watch a lot of stuff, and so this year we've been thinking about ways to actually reward people, and we'll just get to that when we get to it. We got a gazillion great ideas. We just have to take it one step at a time. But Daniel is one of the people that's on the radar, and I'm watching, and I'm approving of a lot of stuff that he does.
Cool. So thank you everybody who's still in here. We're an hour and 45 minutes, but there's no time limits. There's no topic limits. So let's keep going.
Okay.
Liz said age is nothing but a number when it comes to being a good window tinter. That's correct. And Dean Mitchell joined us. Thanks, Dean, for joining us. And
Dean, what's up?
We had a couple people ask why. Okay, so you use Expel. You mentioned that earlier on this live stream.
Yeah.
The question was.
I'm 41, by the way.
41. Okay. So the question from Lewis was, why don't you use flex film?
I'm so glad I've been asked this publicly and live. I have been asked this, I don't know how many freaking times. And it all comes down to perception. You know, there's this perception that I don't use Ralph's film because there's something wrong with it. Well, that's the perception. The reality is I have installed a crap ton of Ralph's film. He's my best friend. Of course I'm going to install his film. The other reality is I have a crap ton of film already in stock. I don't have to order his film. I would have no problem with it, but I've got to run through the film I have now. Now, a few years back, I actually wanted to get his film and bring it into my shop, and Ralph would have had no problem letting me do it. When I was over in the other town I was in, Carrollton, I wanted to get with Ralph's film.
Hold on, let's circle back. You carry Expel now.
I carry Expel now, yes.
You mentioned earlier the reason you carry Expel is the brand draw, because it has a brand awareness. That was one of the reasons. Obviously, the quality of their film, and there's other reasons. But do you currently carry Expel and Flex? Do you not carry Flex right now? How do you make that decision? Or like, I think that's ultimately the question.
Let's just say I'm 95% Expel. Okay. And the other 5%, I use other stuff. I told Expel I was going to basically, this was the agreement I had with them, that I was basically going to use them and just them. That was my personal choice. Because they were good to me. And listen, if I ever move away from Expel, I'll probably be right on Flex Film, to be quite honest. But Expel's been good to me. They've done a lot of great things for the group. I'm going to keep rolling with them. Now, going back to why I don't currently use Ralph's film, which actually I do, I've got some sitting back there now, and when the right vehicle comes in, I'll put it on it. There's nothing wrong with the film. There's nothing at all wrong. There's nothing wrong with the person that's selling the film, which is Ralph. Mm-hmm. When I was going to switch over to Ralph, I was going to switch over from Global at the time. And the city I was in, Ralph already had a customer there. And I'm just going to be honest, the guy bought way more film than I was going to buy. And Ralph never told me, no, you can't have this film. But I'm not going to be like, Ralph, you got to give me your film. And then the guy that's buying way more film than I was going to buy from him, he's been there for 16 years. He's established, and he's buying a crap ton of Ralph's film. I'm not going to buy Ralph's film and have that guy find out about it, and then Ralph possibly lose that. If I was selfish, I would have jumped on Ralph's film in a heartbeat. But I love Ralph and care about him. I'm not going to be in a position where I'm going to bring him less money than somebody else is. That's taken away from my friend. That's why that's the main reason why I haven't used, why I don't use this film. And I haven't used it now because I got hooked up with Expel. But there was, in between Global, after I decided I was done with Global, it was Expel or Flex Film, just to be quite honest. And the reason I didn't go with Flex Film is because, like I said, I'm real. I don't want to do anything to hurt Ralph. Now, if I could have bought more film than the other guy, I would have done it in a heartbeat. Sure. But I knew I couldn't. I knew I wouldn't. And, so a lot of people don't understand a lot of dynamics. I mean, I genuinely care about Ralph, and he genuinely cares about me. And we don't do things to put the other one out. Now, if you want to ask me about his film, how it handles, how it shrinks, I'll tell you anything you want to know. The old film, the quote unquote old film, a lot of people had problems with it. I didn't have problems with it. Like, seriously. Now, is it different than other films? Absolutely. But you got to remember, back when I first started tinting, I was one of the first people that had Hooper Optic. And listen, if you've never worked with Hooper,
you want to talk about a different film. Hooper's a different film.
Yeah, that's
Hooper
a way
Ceramic
different
is a different film.
And listen, you use that, and anything else is easy to work with. Mm-hmm. And it's like, why are people complaining so much about this? And they're like, oh, it's Korean junk and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, put the film on and quit whining. I mean, you can get paid so much money by using this. So in any case, bottom line is window tinters, a lot of window tinters make their choices. Mm-hmm. Even just like Eric said, just like I'm going to say, a window film that works really easy for you is one that, you're generally going to gravitate to. And, his film didn't necessarily work easy for everybody. It wasn't that it couldn't be put on. It wasn't that it couldn't be put on right. It's that that particular person couldn't do it. Sure. You put some Hooper in their hand and let's see what they say, Yep. But now it's like Ralph has a bomb diggity freaking film now. Like, I mean, it handles great. It's always had performance. It's always had technology, but now it feels like, any other film that you would enjoy to put on. And I'm not trying to give Ralph a plug, but I do. I hope he does great. He deserves it. His face has been out here more than anybody's. And, so I'm not going to do anything to take away from him, but he's got a great product now. And he's always had a great product. He had a run, which everybody else that bought that same film and sold it under another name, those guys were even bigger than him, and they had way more problems than he did. But you didn't hear about it because there wasn't a figurehead to put the blame on. It goes back to Ralph's just put himself out there, and you got to take the good with the bad. And unfortunately, you got to take and listen. Everybody that said something, about his film wasn't lying. I mean, there was definitely times where he had problems, but the amount of problems compared, like it was literally less than 5% of his entire. I'm not trying to get into Ralph's business. I'll let him do that. I'll just simply say I'm privy to a lot more stuff about Ralph and his business and the way he thinks, the way he operates than anybody else. I know more about the man than anybody else in the industry. And he's a great guy. Mm-hmm. So I'm never going to back away from that. If he did something that wasn't great, I would be the first person out to say it, but he just doesn't. Sometimes, he might embellish on some things. I think everybody knows that, but he's a great guy, man. And the film that he has now, he should blow the hell up soon. And he's already doing great, but I mean, he should just blow the hell up before long. And it is what it is. I love the guy, man. I want to see good people be successful, and he's a good person.
So I the first time I spoke to Ralph was yesterday or the day before, a couple days ago, earlier this week or last week. But before that, I feel like I've known him for years just because of his YouTube videos. And I've never interacted with his film. However, to me, seeing that he was one of the pioneers in window film on YouTube, one of the few, and how many things I've learned from watching his videos over the years, I'm just, I'm excited to discuss more about the window films, more about the technology. And then specifically, Andrew had brought up on Chris Queen's video, Andrew in the comments had brought up the heat box, and maybe we could get somebody on here who understands the numbers. And, Ralph seems to really understand the numbers. So that'll be some things we talk about tomorrow. And
all you got to understand about the numbers is none of them are dead on. I don't care who's reporting it. None of them are dead on. And every company has a different way of reporting those numbers.
Sure.
The number, listen, I totally agree that there needs to be a number that's better representative of automotive window film than what they have now. That's a whole nother subject, and we'd be on here for another hour on that subject. I promise you.
Tomorrow. So Mitchell Goldman said, how does Rick feel about competing? What makes him choose a window film company and then compete for what makes him choose a window film company to compete for? So how do you feel about competing? I'm guessing in the tint off, maybe is what I'm guessing. How do you feel about competing, and what makes you choose a film company to compete for? So did you compete this year in Indianapolis, or last year rather, in Indianapolis?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So I'm trying to figure out, I guess you competed on behalf of
Expel,
which is who you also carry at your shop?
Yes. I carry I got a crap ton of Expel sitting back there in the bay.
And before this ends, I hope we can do a little walk around, maybe show us the shop.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not much to it. It's an old two-bay gas station, but I'll be more than welcome to show you.
We'll see in a few minutes. So back to Mitchell's question, how do you feel about competing, and what makes you choose a film company to compete for? I assume you picked the company that you were tinting, that you use in your shop, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I use the film that I'm using in my shop every day because I'm used to using it every day. And I compete because I want to be respected by my peers, and I know I'm capable of doing really good, winning, whatever. I think a lot of us are competitive. We all want to say we're the best at something, but it still all comes down to I compete because I'm looking for the respect of my peers. That's it.
Okay.
If I win some money, I'm cool with that. If I don't win some money, I'm cool with that too. But ultimately, I'm just looking for the respect of my peers. I want to be approved by my peers. I want my peers to be like, hey, that guy can tint. He doesn't suck.
Okay.
And that's it. I'm just looking for approval and respect from other people in the industry.
Okay. So
That doesn't. Go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead, and then I'll just jump back in here.
I think some of the friction I've had with people is, I'm trying to think of how me and Ralph were talking about this the other day. I only care about the opinion. Like I'm not going to take I'm not going to take advice from somebody I don't respect, and so there's definitely times where I may act like I don't care about what somebody's saying or something, but maybe I just don't respect them. I don't know exactly where I was trying to get with that, but ultimately, some people don't like me because maybe I just tell them what needs to be said. Like I feel like sometimes people put me up on a pedestal, like, oh, you're the head of this, that, and the other. You're supposed to act this way, the other way, and whatnot. And I can't always do that, And luckily, I'm not the most professional person, especially on social media. If you would have seen me on social media 4 years ago, you'd have been like, dang. I was just at it with anybody. If you wanted to come at me, I was going to get crazy, man. But I don't know. That's good and bad. Part of that's the reason why WFR is here now. So some dumb things I used to do, I just try not to do no more.
I got you. And that's important to know, too. Maybe people had different interactions, and that's part of why I like these videos, because I feel like it's an opportunity for everyone, including myself, to get to know other people, talk in this long format, and kind of just learn about each other on a more human level. It's a time to see each other more than just a couple times a year. And one of the things that it popped up during some chaos through the window film groups a few months ago, but there was a group that popped up, and I remember the rule was every post had to be a video. And I don't know if I was kicked out of that group. I doubt it, but I mean, I don't think I was, but I haven't seen
I know
posts.
Which one you're talking about.
I don't remember the name, but I haven't seen posts from it in my stream, whether they're there or they're not. I just haven't seen them. I love that idea so much because I feel like when we communicate through video, we're really able to connect better with each other and get our message across in a more clear manner. So, I love that idea. And if somebody wants to get that started, awesome idea.
Well, hold on. Let me tell you right now. You just did exactly what you said. Somebody get this started. What are we doing right now? We're talking on video.
Oh yeah,
you don't have to make a group specifically for making videos.
You could just do it in the video in any group.
Just do it. I mean, be the change that you want to see. Be what you want to see. You just said you would love to see more videos. You're leading by example. You're doing videos. You're getting down and you're doing videos. People are seeing us interact. You're doing exactly what you want to see other people do. You can't just say, "Hey, here's a group. Everybody do videos or get the hell out." People have to want to do it. If you don't want to do it, I'm not going to force you. But I don't think we need to make a group specifically for that purpose. Do I think it's a great idea? No, I think
it'd be cool in all the groups, in every group.
Absolutely.
Video communication is just so cool compared to just typing.
Yeah, absolutely. Video just shows so much more than a single post. Like, just if you had a transcript of everything we've talked about during this video, that would be a long post, right?
Sure.
So you can just get so much more information out like this and eliminate misinformation because people misunderstand stuff all the time, on Facebook.
A joke being said on stage by a comedian is different than reading that joke on paper through text. It's different. It's completely different when somebody says it based on the context and the intent behind it.
Yeah, completely different.
So,
man,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say.
Okay, if you really want to hear what I got to say, I got to take a leak, man. At some point, I have to pee.
Okay, so how about this? You go ahead and do that. When you come back, I want to touch on a comment that Mike Powell had. He commented, and it feels like a big can of worms. So go pee, come back, and then let's open that can.
I'm good with the can of worms. Give me just a second.
Okay.
I appreciate y'all for waiting.
Just hopefully we can't hear it. Close the door. So, Window Tint Institution, that was Mitchell Goldman. He was the founder of that group, and that's the group that I mentioned was the video only group. I do agree. I think making a group only that you're allowed to do that is a great way to boost that. But ultimately, video is a great way to communicate. That's why we're doing these videos. And that's why, you'll see videos post up on our Facebook page and so on, because ultimately being able to talk is just a better way to communicate. That's why we talk. So welcome back. And okay, so Mike Powell said, and Mike, I might be, okay, Rick, you came to me this year in Indy. He said, what is your reasoning and what do you think of me and Film Slingers when I was Cowboy Mike? I haven't ever asked the industry until now. I know things, but I want to know what exactly separated me and today separates me. And then he said, I hear a lot of negatives, but my mindset was for the industry. We have spoken, and I feel this should be put out in the open. So, when he said, I feel like this should be put out in the open, Mike, I respect you. This does sound like a private thing. It's being put out into the open, but what's...
Hold on. Ask me the question in a really simplified way. What exactly is he asking in the most simplified way that you can say?
Mike, would you be able to sum up that question one more time? And I will ask it as you write it, because...
it sounds like what he's asking is...
He says, what's your reasoning and what did you think of films? Like, why did you come up to him at the Tint convention? And what's your reasoning? And what do you think of Film Slingers when he was Cowboy Mike? He's never asked. I guess, is there a separation between you two, or did something happen at the Tint convention? And Mike, I'm
no, listen, here's the deal. I can clarify that if he wants me to. We'll just say an associate, possibly associates, of his, I make all my decisions based off of character. Seriously. And the people, I think he was surprised that I spoke with him, that I approached him, that, we had a discussion, that I was friendly. A couple people that he was running with, I didn't really like. I mean, just bottom line, I don't like them. That, I've seen stuff in their character that, made me worried, upset, concerned, pissed me off.
Okay.
I don't know if we don't need to go into details on this, because that'll take me to not a bad spot, but
yeah, it's not something I feel like. I don't think it needs
to be aired out.
I don't think so either, especially if there's other people involved that aren't on this video. I don't think it's necessarily public, but I hope maybe this could be the catalyst to you guys talking if there's something still to talk about,
Listen, I'm open to talking with anybody that I've ever had a relationship with, good or bad. But to answer Mike's question, the bottom line is Mike, I seen character in you that I did not see in the people you were running with. Same thing with me and Eric. Me and Eric would not be sitting here talking right now if I did not see good character traits from him. I don't associate myself with anybody that I deem has poor character. I don't care who you are. You can be, listen, if you're a good buddy of mine and it becomes self-evident that you're a piece of crap, you have to go. Like, see, when I say piece of crap, all it comes down to, do what you say you're going to do. I'm a man of my word. I expect people around me to be men of their words or women of their words. I'm just not going to associate with people with low character, and it only takes one time. And after that, listen, everybody makes mistakes. So after that, I just kind of watch and see what's going on. But if you steal from me, that's bad character.
Okay, so it definitely sounds like something that
bad shit
needs to be discussed. But I don't know that this is the time or the place, and I don't know that there's everybody involved. I feel like everybody that's involved should be on a video, and I probably shouldn't be there. and
Yeah.
and then it can go about itself. But Mike, Mike's a great guy. He was one of the people I met at the Window Film Convention. You're one of the people I met at the Window Film Convention. And there's people that maybe bump heads online, but I really say no matter what the past experience are, we are today. We're not who we are necessarily a year ago, 6 months ago, or years ago. So keep an open mind with everybody, because we all change, we all make mistakes, and at the end of the day, we're all human. So Cody Becker said, wonder if anyone has done this, not a local technical school that's graduated, asked me if I could come on the show and some kids about tinting. This is also a school that while attending, I got or shot probably 20 teachers' cars, a few science rooms, a gym, a main entrance. So I'm definitely thinking about getting back. Wonder if anybody has done that to a bunch of high schoolers. So that's really cool, Cody. So what Cody's saying is,
I'm here.
the idea of giving back to a high school or whatnot by going there, talking about your experience in the industry, just in general, and that's great, because I feel like window film, it's one of those like old school technical hands-on businesses that has huge opportunity and probably isn't as known as a career choice as possible. It could definitely use some awareness. So that's really cool. That's really cool, Cody. And then Cody said an added benefit was he'd sign up all the teachers, obviously, to get some business. So Liz said that's one way to bring more tinters into our industry. And Marissa said, I'd never seen that happen, but I love it, in capital letters. And then Mike Powell followed up. He said, but let the industry know who I am, and I want clarity and separation. I have done nothing but showed. I hope the industry. I have nothing but showed the industry who I am and what I'm here for. So I think, if I understand correctly, Michael Powell just wants you to publicly, show the separation, I guess, between whatever happened. Mike, you're your own person. Everybody's their own person. I'm just saying that separate from you. But Rick, if you have anything to say about that.
Mike, you're respected by me. I can't speak for anybody else. I respect you as a peer. That's what I would want to know from you, and so that's why I'm telling you that.
I respect you too, Mike, and love you, brother. And definitely, people can say like, oh, so-and-so happened years ago, or so happened 6 months ago, or even if it was just weeks ago or whatnot. But you have to understand, sometimes it's word of mouth. Sometimes people change. Sometimes it's misunderstanding. Sometimes there's nothing better than to just go into it with a benefit of the doubt. We're all here to help each other, and get through this life together, and in the best way possible, right?
Yeah, I like Mike. He wasn't. Me and Mike can talk about that later, but let's just say Mike is the opposite of a coward. He's got a set on him. You know what I'm saying?
Mike, nothing to be sorry for. Bringing this up, these are the videos. Whatever positivity can come from them comes, and sometimes it can take bringing up a negative to bring a positive. But hey, it's all good. It's all good. This is a platform. Yeah. And Liz said, "Oh, you guys can be so sweet." Daniel said, anything to help. I love this tint thing. Yep. And it shows,
It does.
And Chamal said, yes, people change, but is all good. People do change and people learn. And, a lot of times people, the way they act and so on, it can be for a different reason. It can be a misunderstanding. It can be things. And at the end of the day, what clears things up is communication and an open heart. And come on, we're all tinters. Rick, yeah. I think this is where we might want to cut this off. Brian did want to ask, Rick, how many beard hairs do you get in the back windows? How do you handle that? Do you put a net over your beard or anything when you tint?
Man, beard hairs don't fall out like other hairs. I'm sure they do, but I don't think I've ever got a beard hair into the film. I guarantee you I've gotten like my head hair into the film, and nose hairs and probably ears hairs too. I don't know, but I've never got no. I'm not going to say never, because there may have been one time I got a beard hair in something, but it's not very often. I mean, like if my beard was on top of my head, like let's say I'm getting into a back window to tint it, right? Well, this is touching the dash. It's not going to touch the glass, so I don't ever have a problem. I mean, if I could flip my head upside down, I might get beard hairs in. Right. Actually, if I could flip my head upside down, I could use my beard as like a white scrubby and scrub the window and clean it, right?
Yeah. Chargers, get the peanuts off the Chargers, give it a little wipe down beforehand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Carol said, quality attracts quality. Definitely. You know, one of the comments Carol said, or Carol posted, maybe a year ago, 6 months ago or so, that stands out was she said, light attracts light. And that is in line with quality attracts quality. It does. And Carol's
Birds of a feather flock together.
Carol's a wonderful person. Jeff said, this is my favorite hobby, tinting windows. You know, it shows.
Hey, Carol. Jeff who?
Jeff, not Rutherford.
Hey, what's up, boy?
That's the Tint Lights.
Jeff Rutherford is the tent light guy.
Tint Lights.
Yeah,
I mean,
the pool noodles.
Anybody who's tinted tobacco windows knows you need somebody to hold a light for you. You only need somebody to hold a light for you if you don't have a tint light. So that's definitely like, what a great product. And that's an example of like tinters being innovative. They finding ways to make a product, then selling that product, because in turn, that gives them an opportunity to make money and benefit the industry simultaneously. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nobody thinks you should give away those lights for free. And I feel like that's what, Jeff is an example of how you can, take something that helps you, help everybody. And at the end of the day, I feel like when you create jobs for tinters that are outside of tinting, that's cool too. That's really cool.
Speaking of products and lights for back windows, there's this badass freaking light that some tinter I'm sure came up with. And honestly, I think maybe more than one tinter came up with it, but it's got a magnet on the outside of the window, and you just pull it along, and it's badass. But I'm with you. There is so much innovation coming from all of us being together, because you got maybe one guy has had a bright idea, and he decides to, hey man, I can, okay, for example, I was doing bottom loading tools for a while. Well, I got into bottom loading tools completely happenstance. I wanted to make my own bottom loading tool. I'd been using the Gasket Wizard for a long time, and I was like, this thing's really freaking heavy. I mean, I'm sure I could use aluminum or something, make it lighter, and I don't need all these things. So I went and, I used to do sheet metal work. So I went to my old company, and I'm like, hey, I need y'all to do this for me. And, they did it. And but I had to get an entire sheet to make this thing. So I'm making myself one thing, but now I got like freaking, 50 other ones that are there. And I'm like, so I was telling people I was making this thing, and then I had people start saying, hey man, I want one of those. And so I started selling bottom loading tools completely on accident. And my whole point is that a lot of things in this industry that are positive and good have happened by happenstance or accident, simply because you get enough of the right people together. If you get a lot of the like-minded people together, good things are going to happen. If you get positive people together, positive things are going to happen. If you get negative people together, I mean, it's simple. It's common sense. What do you think is going to happen? Negative stuff. That's what I love about you, man. You are positive. You have the same things that happen to you. You have problems in life just like everybody else, but you're positive. You bring a positive influence to this industry, and that's the reason I love you. If you were Mike, like Mike Powell asked me basically what I seen in him, and you asked me that same thing too at a point, and I told you, I was like, look, man, I know you're brilliant. You've been in marketing since you were a teenager, and I respect those things about you. But more importantly, it's your wisdom, not necessarily your knowledge, but your wisdom. You just simply, you have something that I like, and I think a lot of other people are gonna like. You're a respectable, knowledgeable person, and you're not out here doing negative stuff. That's the reason I like you.
Thank you. Well, you can build.
Man, I believe in you big time, brother.
It's not my own quote, but it's one that I live by, which is, you can build the tallest building by tearing other buildings down, or you can build the tallest building by building the tallest building. And I believe, you can succeed at every single thing through positivity and like loving everybody and taking care of everybody. And when somebody's upset, clearing up that misunderstanding instead of getting upset and then, because fire just makes more fire. You know what I mean? And who wants to live like that? That's not an easy way to live. And at the end of the day, when we all look back on our lives, like, what are you gonna think about? You're gonna think about the people and the experiences and who you're able to help and the good stuff. That's what Like, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? It's such an easy way to live when you really embrace it. You know what I mean?
It is. And it's not hard to be positive. Now, sometimes it is hard to be positive. I get it. But it's a lot easier to be positive than it is to be negative.
Way easier. Way easier.
Yeah, it really is. It's well, I don't know.
It
I
is.
guess
It is because
yeah.
when you foster those like aggressions and so on, and spites and jealousies and whatever they are, when you foster those things, like live here, you feel them here. And when you don't look at things with that sort of angle, and you don't, you know, it only lives inside the people that let it live in them. And I think, like I said, you know, we're all tinters, and not only are we all on Facebook, we're in the same industry, but we're all humans on the same earth, and we're all, you know, so take care of each other.
Life is about nothing more than how we treat each other. That's all life is about. It's not about how much money you got. It's not about the possessions you got. It's how we treat each other. And it's not about what somebody can do for you, but what you can do for somebody else. Well, that's my opinion. I wholeheartedly believe it.
Well, on that note, it's a perfect. I love you, brother. Let's end this 2 hour and 15 long video. Thank you so much for doing this.
Has it been that long?
It's been 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh man, I was thinking it's about 45 minutes, maybe.
I know, right? It flies. So, for anybody who has not got enough of their daily tint dose, you can jump over to Patrick Boyer. He's from the window tinting business, and he's doing a live stream right now on Facebook. So you can jump over to his live stream, finish your night off with some more window film information. It's a great video. It's where I'm headed after this. So thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody for commenting, and we'll see you tomorrow with Ralph Van Pelt, and then same time, same place, and then Thursday with Austin Cook from the Tinstitute. Rick, thank you again so much, brother. Have a great night.
Oh, man, it's been great. And, hey, if you want to do this again in the future, let me know. And you're going to have definitely an interesting topic tomorrow with Ralph, for sure.
That's
going to be interesting. Hey, if
you're
not careful, that'll go way longer than this one did.
It's okay. There's no time limits.
All right, sweet.
All right, man. Oh, you know what? Let's do this real quick before we cut off. Can you take us for a little walk around the shop?
Yeah, I did already, but I'll take you for one more. I had to go get a battery and plug this phone up.
Give everybody a little commentary of what's what.
Okay. Okay, there's my 2 bays. I mean, listen, this is just kind of a ratty place. It's been here forever, but you know, it's not necessarily. That's what I was saying. It's like your relationship with the customers is most important. I'm not happy about how this looks. I'm not ashamed to show it, but here's my stock of film. I got more film there, film up there.
Basically, if you put a fresh coat of white paint, if you did a fresh coat of white paint on the walls and you epoxied the floors, it would look like $1 million.
No. You haven't seen these walls up close.
Doesn't matter. You just spray them. Spray them with white.
Yeah, that's true. Well, at some point I will. Luckily, I don't have customers in this area. Now, the front, I'm going to spend money and time on that before I do anything back here. Honestly, I'm happy with my work environment, but I'm not happy. I'm not completely happy with this.
Okay.
And so we've got some painting and stuff to do in here for sure. But listen, man, I do very good in this location, and you don't have to have the best looking location to do good.
And Rick, real quick, Liz asked, do you allow customers in your bay?
No, absolutely not. I mean, every now and then I let one in if I know them real well or I know a lot about them. But no, I don't want customers. Honestly, I don't even want customers here except to drop their car off. Sometimes, you know, people will wait, like if it's 2 doors or something, or you know, like a 2-door truck or something. But I don't want customers here. I don't want customers behind me. I don't want them. And it's not that I don't know what I'm doing. It's just that they're going to ask me questions. They're going to say stuff, and it's going to cost me time. My place for talking to the customer is on the phone or in person when they're dropping their vehicle off. I don't need to talk to the customer while I'm working. That's my opinion. Some people, it may work out better, but no, I do not want customers around me while I'm tinting their car. I don't go, you know, like if I go to McDonald's to get something to eat, I don't need to be in the kitchen. You know, customers don't need to be in my work area.
Understood.
Just my opinion. Yep.
Understood. Well, Dean Mitchell offered to come help you out to fix up that showroom, so you should take him up on that offer. And why not?
Okay.
And
Okay.
and we look forward to the next video. We'll see some progress over there. And Rick,
I love
thank you
Dean,
again.
by the way.
Say again?
Oh yeah, you're welcome, man. Thank you. I said I love Dean Mitchell.
And Dean
That's my favorite.
Dean is an Expel rep, yeah?
Yes, he's an Expel rep. He is that's my favorite Canadian.
So
I love Dean.
Oh, well, don't forget Marissa's in here too. But
okay, she could be my second favorite Canadian, but I love Dean. It is what it is. Marissa, Dean was here before you. I love you too.
I'm just teasing her. But the reason I bring it up is, Dean's your rep. You say you love him, and he's an Expel rep. You love Expel, and I'm sure Dean has some effect on why you love Expel so much, and that goes to why you pick one company over another sometimes is the
Listen,
people.
You're exactly right. Earlier you asked me about some of the reasons I picked Expel. Hey, listen, I would not be with Expel if it was not for Dean Mitchell. Just 100% straight up. We met in San Antonio a few years back and just kind of hit it off and got to know each other over the years. If it wasn't for Dean, I wouldn't be on board with Expel right now. I would be, honestly, I'd flex film, to be quite honest. That's where I'd be after I left Global. So it is what it is. Dean is a great guy, and that it all goes back to relationships. Without that relationship, Expel would not have got that customer, which was me, or that relationship, or whatever, to benefit. We both mutually benefit. So it's all about the relationships that you build and make. That's it. That's it.
Sure. Well, folks, thank you all for watching. Rick, thank you all for joining. And we'll see everyone back tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, the Tint Wiz Facebook page. And we'll see you then. Have a great night, everyone.
Yeah.